brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn.
Beautiful morning.
Welcome in Thursday, November 11th, 2021, and it is Veterans Day. Thanks to those who have served past and present honorably. Today is absolutely your day. But again, welcome in Sportstime on Sports 56 with Gabe Kuhn and Brett Stats Norsworthy. Bryant Dake is producing the program. Plenty to get to. Grizzlies drop one to the Hornets, 118-108. Cam Newton and the Panthers have reunited. And we also have some breaking news about OBJ that we're going to get to probably here off the top. Thursday Night Football, Ravens visit the lowly Dolphins. We will preview and make our picks at the bottom of hour two. First hour of our show is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. And we are always live from the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Make sure that you hit up the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255, if you want to text us about anything we talk about today. And also, you can hit us up and watch us live on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. On the show today, as far as guests are concerned, Bill Bender at 3:30 to talk college football from the Sporting News. 4 o'clock, we bring on our friend, good friend, Brad Logan. He's the host of Believe in the Ole Miss podcast. We're going to talk Ole Miss and A&M and look around the SEC with him at 4 o'clock. 4:45, a little later than his normal time slot, we bring on Keith Smith to talk NBA from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rack. 5 o'clock, of course, we bring on our good friend from the Tiger sideline, Greg Gaston. Brett, how goes it?
It's going well, Gabe, and I agree with you. Happy Veterans Day. Appreciation to one and all out there that have served our great country, and, of course, to the ones and their families that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. We thank you seems
Absolutely.
very insufficient. I want to read you a text I just sent to a friend of mine who was 2 years older than me, and Gabe, me and my generation, we had it lucky. We were after Vietnam, but we were really mostly before Persian Gulf. Some in mine did service, but
right.
It was no draft. It was lucky, and this friend of mine is now a vice chancellor at the University of Arkansas, and he was 2 years older than me. He was always active in ROTC, and he served in Desert Storm, and it was something. I just texted him, love you so much every day, but especially on this day. So appreciate your valorous service for our great country. We were so proud of you then and now.
There's no question. I have family that served. My grandfather. Just thank you. More on today than any other day, but every day.
Yeah.
We thank those vets.
We get to have all this freedom. We get to have all this fun.
Yes.
We get to argue about
exactly.
John Conchar.
Exactly. and you know, we even have freedoms to go after each other, like I think this country the past few years has done. We've gone after each other. But I think we need to unite.
Did you not get?
I think we need to unite a little more, and this day is absolutely a reminder of that.
It sure is. And today, thank you, and just appreciate so many of them. I love hearing the stories from yesterday and today. I mean, we have young people in the breach right now. Maybe on a mission, a faraway land that we can't imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's absolutely true. Now,
and if they're just simply holding down a post out at Millington, thank you. We appreciate you.
You said we're free to argue about John Conchar, so let's do it. You want to let's get into it about John Conchar. Grizzlies last night lose 118-108. Dylan Brooks was active. He ended up scoring 20 points. He knows one speed.
Probably 17. Breaking news that we've had war to John Conchar over him, but
yeah. But 17 shots for Dylan Brooks last night, 4 fouls. I mean, that's just what he does. Ja's 19-point first quarter was fantastic. It's the most in his career, second most, I believe, or third most all time in any quarter for a Grizzlies player. But the Grizzlies drop one, and Kelly Oubre was just sensational for the Hornets.
Kelly Oubre, who I think it's a league rule on any trade, he has to be mentioned in the trade.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I mean, how many times has Kelly Oubre almost been a Grizzly?
A million times. I don't know. A lot of people still probably want him to be a Grizzly. He's talented. He is very talented. You look at last night, that shows that. 37 points on 7 for 9 from 3. But he can never really find a spot to settle. And he's not – I don't know if he ever breaks into that star category where people thought he could be based on the talent.
In the gigantic hall of good big teases, he's in the foyer, isn't he?
Yeah, well, and also think about like Andrew Wiggins. That's another guy I always have to point to. He's always been a starting level guy.
Did you see those dunks last night?
Wiggins?
Yeah.
Oh, he was ridiculous last night.
Man.
But he does that, a couple times a week? And then the other games?
About one time a week.
And then he completely disappears for the rest of the week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think –
aggravates you for about 2 weeks.
Yes. But I think the big story from last night, besides Desmond Bane past 3 games, has been struggling. He's missed his last 15 3-point attempts, which is I don't think – I bet if you ask him, I bet he has never done that at any level of basketball in his entire career. But 0 for 13 in the last 2 games. Melton was not very good. But the story of last night was the lineups that Taylor Jenkins was throwing out there to start the fourth. And someone, if on the text line, if you remember this differently, let me know. Start of the fourth, Tyus Jones, Desmond Bane, who has been struggling, John Conchar, Kyle Anderson, and Steven Adams.
It was a lot of Conchar last night.
I don't really understand that. And
tell me where your offense is coming from. It's not coming from the last 2 names you listed.
No, absolutely not.
And of late, it's not coming from Tyus Jones.
It's not coming from anybody in that lineup. I'd say Kyle Anderson probably the most likely to produce offense, at least.
And the appetite that you have to have for his game.
Yeah. It's I didn't understand. No Zaire last night. That was Zaire Williams, who was available, and you don't know if he's injured, and they want to be careful with him, which is possible with a young player. But Conchar getting minutes over Zaire Williams was a little dumbfounding. And I'm just going to ask this: why is there with this front office with Taylor Jenkins? I don't know who makes the full decision with it. Why is Dylan Brooks coming off the bench? They did that with Jaren Jackson Jr. last year, too. If he's on a minutes restriction, I get that. I completely understand that. Why are you throwing him in there with the bench group? Does that make any sense? Because he's never when he's at full speed, he will never play with the bench group.
You're not asking me to defend that, are you?
No, I'm just okay, I'm asking.
It's indefensible.
I don't really understand that. Is I guess where I'm coming from. If you're gonna play him with the people he'll be playing with all the time.
I can make a better case for going back to the gold standard than I can that. I don't think many people would want to hear me pontificate on the gold standard. Gabe, all joking aside, and it was so fun to visit with Rob Fisher on Tuesday, and we were mostly joking about win of the year Monday night. Well, it's a win of late for this reason, because it's the only one the last 3 times out, and most of that game looked like these 2 losses in the last 3.
Yeah, they have not looked good lately. They really haven't. And you called it win of the year against Minnesota because if they lose that one, it's loss of the year. But yeah, you are dead correct. Besides Ja Morant the past 2 games, I don't know of anybody else on the floor that I would really and Brandon Clark against Minnesota. But I don't know of anybody on the floor that has played with any level of consistency. Jaren was fine last night.
That was a Charlotte team ready to be defeated.
I wanted to see more of Jaren last night. I don't know. I mean, he had 30 minutes. I understand that. But he was playing relatively well, shooting well, playing good offense. Didn't foul. Only 1 foul last night.
Looked like the crowd was a little better than Monday. Were you in the building?
I was not in the building last night. I was not able to. Had to celebrate a birthday.
I understand. And the box score said a few more. It looked like a little more activity. I think tomorrow night against Phoenix will be a big Friday night crowd. And that's a big game for the Grizzlies before they go out on the road for 1 and then back home for 2 more. This is a stretch where you have to play better than they have. The back-to-back wins against Denver spoke for themselves, but the last 3 efforts, even the win,
have been lesser. There's no question about it.
Little shaky, but again, the Grizzlies are insulated by so many games. There's no need to go crazy over. Of
course.
Even this 3-game stretch that you've dropped 2 out of 3. But a trend is developing, and that will deserve that will merit more criticism.
Well, I'll say this: I think the trend you've seen the past 2 out of 3 games is they shoot awfully. They've been under 25% in 2 of the last 3 games, and there's no surprise that they've lost 2 of the last 3. And I think there's no surprise. It's a direct correlation with what Desmond Bane's been doing. Desmond Bain has been bad. 0 for his last 15.
Very.
Again, I don't know if anyone ever imagined him being from the three-point line that bad. But here's the thing with him. I still don't know if this
Gabe's
trend
been Boogie Ellis bad, and we know the criticism
right.
that Boogie Ellis got over being in a bad stretch like that.
I agree, but I don't see that as certainly don't see that as a trend that'll hold.
Oh, by the way, did you catch that the other day when Bryant Dacus had USC in his Final Four? I knew he was the biggest Boogie Ellis fan around.
He is a bit. Are you? You a
Love
Boogie guy? You love Boogie.
Love Boogie.
I hear you.
That's not why you picked him, though, is it? In and of itself?
No, that wasn't the whole reason.
Yeah.
It was some of it.
But they were good last year. They lost Evan Mobley, though. But Grizzlies, I think you need more of a sample size of them shooting this badly to say it's a full trend, but it's certainly trending in the wrong direction because they had before that been very solid. Defensively, I don't know. I mean, I don't know when they're going to be good. I think we've seen enough defensively to say that this is just not a good defensive basketball team.
No, it's not. And if you can't make it up with torrid shooting, you can get buried.
The next 2 out of 3, you have very, very winnable games. Obviously, you play Phoenix at home tomorrow, and then you have a back-to-back. You go to New Orleans to play them. They're 1-11. They're very, very bad. And then you have the Rockets.
Really
I mean, they're really. I mean, did you see last night too with the Pelicans? 5 technical fouls in the second quarter.
Yeah, a lot
versus
of finger pointing.
they lost to the Thunder, and the Thunder aren't any good.
I'm sorry to say it. The NBA has just never worked in New Orleans, and I wish it was different.
That's true. It's very true. And
professional basketball hadn't. Back to the Buccaneers before they moved to Memphis and became the pros.
I think this year, I don't think they're even with their 2 stars in the lineup they'd be any good. But this year, you can say 1-11, like.
No, but
the
big
3
stars they've had a swing at. They had a swing at Chris Paul, Anthony Davis, and Zion Williamson,
and they all
it hasn't worked.
And they all wanted out. AD couldn't stand it there, and he had them in the playoffs.
Chris Paul did as well.
I don't know if the 2 guys they have there can ever get them to the playoffs. Just considering they're similar players to Brandon Ingram or not similar players, Brandon Ingram and Zion, but they play on similar areas of the floor. They just
ownership's bad.
Yeah, it's just not a good basketball city. Not a good basketball city.
Can you believe this Bo Davis story is into a second day?
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I'm going to go ahead and call someone out. I'm not going to go to, but Dan Wolken coming out and trying to poke fun and say, I just noticed he said MFer too many times. If you don't know the insides of college football and how it's coached, just don't comment on it. I'm sorry. And you see a lot of people going at him, as well they should. But just if you do not understand how people get coached in this day and age, just keep your comments to yourself.
And Gabe, I'm fine. If we want to ban that word, it's never to be used. That's fine. Who's going to be the police on that?
No one.
Who's going to be judge and jury on that?
I'll say this: there are some coaches.
Danny Boy.
There's some exactly. There's some coaches I've played for in the past who do not want you to cuss.
Josh Pashner had a strict rule of you're never to use that word no matter what, no matter the ending.
Yeah.
Ever. It's never to be used.
Coach Silverfield.
By anyone.
Never were allowed to use certain words in a meeting. Right? So
Ken Hatfield had a strict no cussing policy at Arkansas when he was the coach there.
But
he wouldn't allow the little bitty ones.
But for coaches,
if we had a cuss can, the 25-cent words. Never mind the $10 words.
I'm personally of the belief, though, certain messages come across more forceful and correctly when you use certain words. Now, we talked to Barrett Jones yesterday.
Would you do it at church? Would you do it in front of your mother?
But we talked to Barrett Jones yesterday. Would I use those words to my players? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
But there are messages that need to come across, and if you feel you need to use some of those words, I'm not going to blame you for it.
All right, Gabe, I'm playing the other side here. You know.
Okay.
But
go
now,
ahead.
What do you say to that person that says, now in recruiting, when you come in and you talk to their mothers and you talk to their parents and you talk to their dads, you're selling family and you're selling that I'm going to take care of your youngster like he's mine.
I got it.
You don't ever go in there and go, now, every now and then, I'm going to call him an MFer. You don't mind that, do you?
But if you're preaching family, I don't know about you, but I've gotten cussed at by my family. I've gotten cursed,
and I've deserved
terribly.
it most of the time.
I've gotten whooped,
if not
right?
every time.
Like when I was a kid, you get whooped with family.
I don't know if I've ever had that word thrown at me though.
But right, true. That'd be kind of weird coming from a mother or father too.
And in the cuss can, that's $100 word, isn't it?
But I have been dog cussed by
I have too.
Mother and father. Okay, so when you're talking brother. And extended family, for that matter, aunts, uncles.
I don't know if dog cuss, but I've been spoken too harshly, and every time I've deserved it.
But family does that to each other every once in a while. When they need to get a message across, they let it be known, and they don't mince words. And I'll say Bo Davis did not mince words.
No,
not at all. Not one bit.
He did not. And I think the larger thing, and I said it, and to Texas fans, look, I love your history and tradition. I love going to Austin. It's one of the topper places of all time. But you're soft. You're soft, and everybody knows it now. Mm-hmm. Texas is soft. One thing I don't like when the last time I went to Austin, when I see the goofy bumper sticker that says, I'm not from Texas, I'm from Austin, tells me you're soft.
And the football players in particular, and a lot of the athletes there, they're pampered. They're high recruits.
And Texas high school football is played differently now, Gabe, than it's ever been played. It's not a line of scrimmage, rock'em sock'em brand of football. It's really 7-on-7, 5 wide, modified flag football. They're not playing rock'em sock'em football anymore. Texas, you're soft.
Dang. All right. Fully soft. You heard it from Brett.
And I laughed when they thought they were going to get Nick Saban because he was going to walk in there and he had them all crying by sunset.
Well, that job, you have to deal with more than just soft players. You have to deal with
there's a lot of cigar smoking boosters.
Yes, you have to deal with boosters that if you lose, God forbid you lose, be careful.
The old saying that in
one
the NFL,
loss into the world.
In the NFL, you report to one owner. At some of these colleges, you report to about 10 or 15 owners, or they think they are. Brett Norsworthy here for FanDuel. Basketball fans celebrate the NBA 75th anniversary season at FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can place their first bet risk-free, and if you don't win, you'll get up to $1,000 back. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the perfect time to give it a shot. It's easy to use, easy to register, easy to deposit. Now accepting Venmo and fast withdrawals. When you win, FanDuel will pay you your winnings in as little as 2 hours. There's no place to bet on the NBA better than at FanDuel. That's the place to be. Already have a FanDuel Sportsbook account? FanDuel's hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend, plus your friend will get $50 too. Just invite them using your exclusive referral link, which can easily be found when you tap the refer icon. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up using promo code CASH to get your first bet risk-free up to $1,000 and make every moment more this NBA season. That's promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in town. That's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-362-8833. Great offers on all remaining 2021 models, and the 2022s are rolling in. Always special leasing options. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2021 or 2022 flagship LS500s, and you'll be looking and driving in style. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. The one and only Lexus dealership in town. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Top story of the day for me, NFL signings. We have some interesting ones. Without question. Odell Beckham Jr., just moments ago, it's being reported by Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport that he is finalizing a contract with the Rams for the rest of the season. Apparently the Packers and the Rams were the last two. Both offered him veteran minimum, but he ends up picking the Rams. And you know what? I think Green Bay is the better fit. But where would Odell Beckham Jr. rather live, L.A. or Green Bay? I think it's a pretty obvious decision. And it said he was honing in on the Chiefs, Packers, Saints. Ends up with the Rams. Rams are doing their best L.A. Dodgers impression, aren't they?
They sure are. Super Bowl 56 right there. I picked them to win Super Bowl 56 right there. That does nothing to dissuade me whatsoever on that. How long before he calls out Cooper Kupp getting too many catches instead of him getting balls?
We will see. We will see. I don't. I hope Matt Stafford can get him the ball. That's one of the quarterbacks. When we were talking about this, when we had this conversation, that's one of the quarterbacks I do trust him to get the ball. The other signing today, Cam Newton to the Panthers, a reunited situation.
MVP,
Panthers,
Super Bowl 50.
Of course, he was an MVP. And I go back earlier in the week when Matt Rule, coach of the Panthers, said obviously Sam Darnold's out with a scapula fracture and he will miss weeks. They had P.J. Walker, who was going to probably start for this foreseeable future. And what Matt Rule said was that the Panthers were ready to explore any and all options at QB. That signing Cam Newton is definitely any and all options at QB. The contract itself, it's similar to what he had with the Patriots. Up to $10 million for the rest of the year. Very, very incentive laden. $4.5 million fully guaranteed. He gets a roster bonus of $1.5 million. But Cam Newton back with the Panthers. We'll see how it works out for him. I'm sure he'll be starting for the rest of the year.
Worked out really well last time. My top story, game day. It's headed to it's here. It's in Oxford. They're setting up literally about a half mile from where I am as we speak. Second time ever. The winner of A&M Ole Miss, I think, keeps some fleeting dreams with a lot of chaos of being that two-loss team as the 4 seed come college football playoff time. Need a lot of chaos. A&M still with LSU, Ole Miss still with the Egg Bowl. So this weekend doesn't end it for the winner. It ends it for the defeated team. Just a good bowl game is all that will be in mind then. Each weekend in college football now through the finish of the season, you know what it is? It's a playoff, but there's no bracket. And when you win, it doesn't guarantee you advance in anything. But when you lose, you're out. We have a college football playoff of about 16, 17, 18 teams. It's called the regular season.
Not top story of the day.
My not top. Grizzlies losing last night. And it is what it is. I think the last 2 of 3 games, there's a trend of bad shooting, and Desmond Bain is certainly the culprit. For his last 15, like I mentioned. DeAnthony Melton was 1 for 7 from 3 last night in particular. So not great. But the good news is you do get Dylan Brooks back. But I don't understand what the Grizzlies' thinking is when they bring guys back from injury. Dylan Brooks coming off a hand fracture. You look at Jaren Jackson Jr. last year off the meniscus injury. Why in the world do they bring them off the bench with guys that they're never going to play with for the rest of the season when they're actually in the fold? So
almost not rotation guys.
I'm very confused, especially last night with the lineups that Taylor Jenkins was throwing out. Like I said at the start of the fourth, you had Tyus Jones, Desmond Bain, who's been struggling, John Conchar, Kyle Anderson, and Steven Adams. I don't know where you're getting offense from, but it is what it is. A lot more games on the schedule. They're 6-5 at this moment. I think a lot of people would be happy if through 11 games they were sitting at 6-5 and mostly without Dylan Brooks.
Yeah, I'm there.
But last night was certainly ugly, and the past 3 have been relatively ugly.
My not top story, the most powerful man in baseball speaks. Rob Manfred? No. Hank Steinbrenner? No. Mike Trout? No. Scott Boras, most powerful man in baseball, says the Braves won the title because of tanking. I watched the playoffs pretty closely. Did the Astros tank? Did the Dodgers tank? Were the White Sox tanking? I don't think the Cardinals were tanking. At one point, they had won almost 20 in a row. That's anti-tanking. Did the Mets tank? They added a bunch at the All-Star or at the trade deadline. Red Sox, were they tanking? Giants? I don't think they were tanking. Ludicrous. Go away, Scott Boras.
He ain't going away. I'll tell you that. He gets his guys whole lot of money. But
get him mad enough, he might buy the radio station.
I think he's tired of his guys getting moved at the trade deadline. I think that's more what it is than anything else. But
that's sour grapes, isn't it?
I saw
to do that to the Braves fans.
I saw that, and I think that'll be a conversation that they'll have. The tanking conversation will be one they have when it comes to this offseason and trying to figure out a new CBA. But, yeah, Scott Boras was definitely overstating tanking.
Scott Boras will be in every CBA offseason negotiation.
Yep. That's our top and our not top story of the day. When we come back, our friend Bill Bender joins us to talk college football from the Sporting News. We'll do that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
It's a new show with a new time, but Peter Edmiston and Anthony Sane are back with Sports 56 Grind Time. Weekdays from 1 to 3 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Ian Eagle and Ross Tucker here from Westwood One with a preview of Thursday Night Football. From Miami, we'll kick off Week 10 of the NFL season with AFC action when the Dolphins play host to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. All right, Ross, break it down for us.
Well, Ian, the Dolphins certainly feel good about themselves after their first win since Week 1, if you can believe that. They're trying to make it 2 in a row. As for the Ravens, every game counts. They had that thrilling comeback last week against the Vikings in overtime. They're trying to win the division. They're trying to get the number 1 seed in the AFC. They can't slip up against the Finns.
Ross, looking forward to it. Join us for the Ravens at the Dolphins coming up on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
O'Reilly. Don't miss See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts with great deals on wiper blades, headlight bulbs, and more. Right now, get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select Sylvania bulbs. Plus, earn double O Rewards points with your purchase. Get ready for the weather ahead during See Better, Drive Safer month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Memphis, thinking about buying a truck or SUV? Then come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. Want a red truck, black truck, white truck? How about a blue truck? Black wheels, chrome wheels. Come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, extended cab, crew cab. Want a lifted truck? Come to the Sunrise Truck Corral. Want a diesel? How about a gas engine? Ford, Dodge, Chevy, Jeep, GMC, Toyota. We got them all at the Sunrise Truck Corral, the only dedicated truck lot in Memphis. Can't find a truck you like? Call, click, or come in. We'll find you the dream truck. Sunrise Truck Corral, Old Hummer Building on Highway 64 in Bartlett. We make it fun to buy a truck.
There's now a faster and easier way to pick up your Corky's Barbecue. Order and pay online, pull into the designated spot, text Corky's to 474747, and we'll bring your order right to your car. No waiting.
Tiger Nation, Saturday, November 13th is going to be an action-packed day you won't want to miss. Start off your day with football against ECU at 11 at Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium. Take advantage of the Chick-fil-A family plan for only $80, which gets you 4 tickets and 4 Chick-fil-A meal vouchers. Then finish the night off with Tiger basketball at the FedEx Forum as men's basketball hosts North Carolina Central at 6. For tickets, visit GoTigersGoTix.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Gabe and Stats. Brian Dacus producing the program as always AutoZone listener line 901-360-8255. Get in the zone, AutoZone, if you'd like to join our text line. Also, watch us live and message us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. But without further ado, let's bring in our friend Bill Bender, talking college football from the Sporting News. Bill, how goes it?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We always love having you on. So last night, real quick, the MAC announced that they're not going to expand. Is this officially sort of the end of what we should sort of consider when we talk about realignment?
Round 2 of realignment, yeah, it may slow down a little bit now. I think a lot of pieces are in place. All the reactions to the moves there were some reactionary moves made to the moves that trickled down from Texas and Oklahoma. And I think in the short term, but it'll calm down for a minute, and we probably won't see another move for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, how much work does Texas have to do to get ready for their move into the SEC?
I mean, they've got a lot. Obviously, not winning football games. I still think the offense has always been good. They're going to be able to recruit because Texas now. They're going to have to. It's going to have to start inside out. That's how you have to build a team that wins in the SEC. I mean, there's a lot of great skill position players, obviously, but when you watch SEC football, the thing that always stands out to me is the offensive lines in the front seven. Guys are huge. Guys can run. It looks like an NFL game at times. So I think that's the challenge for Texas as they build toward getting into the SEC.
Along those lines, what's been the big overarching issue with that program the past decade or so? Some decent coaches have been through there. It just hasn't worked out. Sark in year one, I think he's trying to turn it around. It hasn't been what he had hoped. But what's been the biggest issue?
I mean, I just think probably the defense and the offensive line play. They're in a conference where that you have to score a bunch of points. I think on the field, though, they've lost a ton of close games. Just a ton of close games. And that's been the issue in a lot of ways, is not being able to close out games against schools like, even last week. I think they've lost something like, I want to say 18 or 19 games by 10 points or less since Tom Herman took over. And that goes into this year. So until you win those close games against the competition you're supposed to be beating, they're not going to take that step up.
Bill, how many teams in college football do you think are alive for that 4th seed on Selection Sunday when the CFP announces the 4? We know we think we know who 1 will be. Never mind 2 or 3. How many are alive for that 4th spot?
I think the cutoff point for teams that can actually make the playoff is probably Texas A&M. Because Texas A&M still has this long shot scenario where they could backdoor in as a 2-loss team. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But they have that path and that possibility. So anybody, what are they, 12?
They're 11 in the CFP rankings.
And who's 12? Wake?
Wake is 12, correct.
Yeah, I don't think Wake can get in. I don't think the ACC can get in. So I think anybody 1 through 11 technically has that chance. And Notre Dame, to me, is a little bit iffy because they're blocked off by Cincinnati in that loss. So but I'll say 11 for the sake of argument.
Michigan comes in at number 6. Michigan State comes in at number 7, even though Michigan State won the head-to-head matchup. What do you think of that? And then the requisite explanation from Gary Barta and the committee.
They wanted some TV drama. I mean, and they did set a dangerous precedent by doing that, just simply because now they can, at any time, say, well, we feel like that team's better.
Right.
So if you're Oregon, you can't like that because they could just arbitrarily decide that, hey, Ohio State's better. Or Cincinnati that's better. And I'm old school, so I don't like it because I don't like the idea that we can just change teams based on something like that. Yeah. Because I think the results on the field have to count for something. I've always
to, Bill. Well, I mean, we just can't say Michigan they're better because we say so.
Correct. So, I mean, Michigan State should absolutely be ranked ahead of them.
And it all could be completely nullified regardless because Michigan goes into Penn State this weekend. How scared should Michigan be for this game? It'll be cold, too.
No, I don't know about if scared. It's a tough game. Penn State's got a good defense. Penn State, tough to play at home. They beat Michigan the last 2 times there. It's going to be a tight game. You know, they beat them there. They beat Michigan. Teams are about the same by 10 points last year. Now, Michigan's defense has changed since. What gives the Wolverines a pretty good chance to get out of there with a win, even if it's close, is I like their running game a little bit more. I think their running game's been more consistent. If he trusts McNamara, like you said, it's going to be cold. And we're starting to get, you know what?
Yep.
It's funny you said that because I live in Ohio, and it literally in the last hour went from like 70 to get my winter coat out.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the Big Ten football down the stretch. You just got to get used to it.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Seeing your breath.
Bill, what team's most on upset watch? Michigan, Oklahoma against Baylor. We talked about Michigan and Penn State. Oklahoma against Baylor. I won't even say Georgia against Tennessee. Ohio State at home against Purdue, or A&M at Ole Miss, or Notre Dame going to Charlottesville to play the Wahoos.
Picked Ole Miss to win. I think Ole Miss can win at home, even though if they don't, I mean, that's one Lane's got to pull out. And I picked Virginia to beat Notre Dame, but that's a tough pick to make, knowing that some of that's going to hinge on is the quarterback okay. He took a nasty rib shot last week, and his health is in question. But, I mean, those are the two that I've kind of got circled. We talked about, I mean, Michigan could absolutely lose. I don't see Ohio State or Oklahoma losing. Oklahoma could be close. Never know on the road. It's only Caleb Williams' second road start. Ohio State I like the least to lose. You know, they haven't lost a Big Ten home game in a long time. They haven't looked great, but that Michigan State pass defense isn't very good, and I think Ohio State will take advantage of it.
So you just mentioned also Brett mentioned within those, Notre Dame this weekend against Virginia. Notre Dame, I think they're a little, as far as college football playoff is concerned, a little far out. They have to have some things go right. What are the things that need to go right for Notre Dame to sneak into the playoff again?
Well, they need Cincinnati to lose because they can always flip the justification then, because they can say, well, Notre Dame played a bunch of Power 5 opponents, Cincinnati didn't, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They need the Big Ten to get messy, and the quickest way for the Big Ten to get messy, and I've done this a couple times today, so I got to try one more time. They need Ohio State to beat Michigan State, Penn State to beat Michigan, and Michigan to beat Ohio State. So that way the Big Ten champion will have 2 losses or more. And
Billy,
that's kind of – go ahead.
Is Big Ten messy good for college football? Or we just take it how it falls out?
It'd be fun for the Big Ten because, I mean, it's a conference that's been dominated by Ohio State for the last 5 years. I mean, Ohio State hasn't lost a Big Ten game since that Purdue loss. And, I mean, it's been more than 1,000 days, 3 years, whatever measurement you want to use. I mean, they haven't lost a Big Ten game in that long. Ryan Day's never lost a Big Ten game. So, there's first time for everything, but, I mean, the dominance that the Buckeyes have, it would spice up that conference. No question.
Right. And every year we get to the theoretical, could Michigan do it this year? Is Jim Harbaugh finally going to get over the Ohio State hump? It's never happened. Let's just be honest. But when you look on paper this year, it makes sense. Michigan's run game is fantastic. Ohio State's rush defense, it's improving. It's been a little better. Defense in general has been a little better, but it's not quite where it has been. When those two match up, how fair do you think it is to say Michigan could possibly pull out a win?
I mean, the last time I thought Michigan could actually win the game was 2016. And then 2018, I had that, maybe. I think because they got hot at the end of the year, but it was like Ohio State, those games were in Columbus. What changes it up a little bit is if Michigan can pass these next 2 tests and take a 10-1 team into this game for the 3rd time with Harbaugh, they'll be at home this time.
Yep.
And that gives them a chance, I suppose. I do think of Ohio State's remaining opponents, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, the Wolverines have the best chance to beat them.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh's name will pop up in NFL open coaching searches?
No, because I think the style of the NFL has changed so much. I mean, the model now is, as strange as it sounds, is those coaches like McVay, LaFleur, Cliff Kingsbury, Beck Taylor. Those kind of young guys. But it's not to say there isn't a place for it. I mean, they'll look no further than Tennessee and Mike Vrabel for that old school way of coaching where it's just toughness and they're 7-2. I didn't think there was a chance they would beat the Rams last week without Derrick Henry, and they went out and took care of their business.
So I know the past 2 years have been somewhat of a struggle for James Franklin at Penn State, but he still does a relatively good job and did a good job with that program from day one. What do you think the likelihood is with all of these jobs opening up, namely LSU and USC? What do you think the likelihood that he leaves this year?
I would say I'm on the fence, probably about 50-50, because I think there's a case to be made for both. There's a case to be made to stay at Penn State with the recruiting they have in, just kind of reset, keep chasing the Buckeyes, do your thing. They have one of the top-ranked recruiting classes coming in, and there's a case to say, forget that, I'm going to USC, I'm going to go try to win some Pac-12 championships, and go from there. So I think both of those, I don't think LSU's the fit for him. I think it's either USC or Penn State.
With LSU, regardless of who they hire, it feels like it's going to be blockbuster. It's going to be historic, whether it's Mel Tucker and first African-American head coach of LSU football and the whole Michigan State connection, like Nick Saban back in 2003, kind of like that. And if it's Lincoln Riley, if it's Jimbo Fisher, it's going to be a wowsy hire, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. It'll be wild no matter what happens. And, I think, obviously we'll see. I think Mel Tucker makes a lot of sense. I think Jimbo Fisher would make a lot of sense, but it might be tough to pry him away from a Texas A&M program that he's really built. I mean, like we just said, right. A&M might have a playoff shot here. So, I think those are the two biggest names, and I don't think they're going to go the group of five route. It is going to be a big name and a big story no matter who they hire. I'm sorry.
Right. What's the situation with that LSU hire that causes the most mayhem, though? Is it Jimbo Fisher? Could that reverberate?
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah.
Because NOU hires Heupel, Tennessee fans freak out.
Lane Kiffin.
Ooh, that's another one.
But I don't think he will.
Don't do me like that, Bill.
Right. Lane Kiffin, because it means he left another SEC school. But I don't think he will because of the Orgeron connection and some other things there. Who did you say before I so rudely interrupted? I'm sorry.
I think he said Lincoln.
I said Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley, yeah. That's a good answer.
Would be wild.
That's a huge answer because it would show that they ponied up for him.
And
the trickle down.
Going to a different school before they... And then Oklahoma's coming to the SEC, which makes it even spicier if that would happen.
Of course, you know what's going to happen. Let's just say that happened. Lincoln Riley's named at LSU. Josh Heupel leaves Tennessee to go to Oklahoma. You know who Tennessee fans would want? Lane Kiffin.
Could they get him at this at this time though?
Wanting
and getting's two different things.
Yeah. Would they?
Josh Heupel's done a nice job.
Would they want him?
That's been Heupel's done a nice job, though. I mean, if you'd have told me, I've been saying this kind of all week, that if got to this point in the season and Tennessee has a better record than Florida, I mean, that's just wild to me on a lot of levels.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't have anything else.
I was just saying, could the Tennessee fans get over their hatred of Lane in that situation? And how it ended last time?
I don't think they will. I don't think he's coming back. I think they made their point at that game when
they did.
Tennessee played a few weeks ago.
4.
Yeah, they did. And the mustard bottle. Bottle. But he is Bill Bender from the Sporting News at Bill Bender 92 on Twitter. Bill, thank you, man.
Have a great weekend, Bill.
Hey, no problem, guys. Take care. Have a good one.
Thank you.
You have a good one. That would be a heck of a trickle down. You brought that one up to me.
I'm just throwing it out. I'm not saying it's happening,
but that we'd get to see another Tennessee coaching search and all that comes with that. No offense to our Vols listeners.
I don't know that they could go through another one. I really don't. I don't wish it on them because they got. That was
last time.
They've got him a
depressing.
good guy. They've got him a good guy. Belly Acres, the motto, it's simple. City-fied, farm fresh. And the goal is simple. Provide a fun, unique farm-to-table experience for the entire family. 2 great locations, a third on the way. A third one is going to be open after the new calendar year. Right now, they're at Regalia at 6130 Poplar and in Overton Square at 2102 Trimble Place. Signature burgers are made from 100% grass-fed beef, sandwiches, salads, and the best milkshakes anywhere, and a great vibe in both of these great locations. All the TVs always on sports. You feel almost like you're at a sports bar, but you're there to eat all the great food that Belly Acres is very famous for, like the dairy or the double dairy, the melt in your mouth, and you have to try the Voodoo Moo. The goal at Belly Acres, it's simple, to become even more sustainable as they grow, and they will grow in 2022. They're in Overton Square in Regalia now, and a third location coming soon. It's the quality brand, the Belly Acres team. They've developed using grass-fed beef with creative homemade toppings in a fun farm setting right here in the big city. In Overton Square and in Regalia, the very best quality available in Memphis. It's at Belly Acres. Burgers, shakes, and smiles. That's what you get at Belly Acres.
When we come back, we continue this college football conversation on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Hi, everyone. This is Greg Gaston. After 16-plus years coming to you during the midday hours, Eli Savoy and I have moved to the morning drive. You can join us weekdays from 7 to 10 a.m. for the all-new Sports 56 mornings, only on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Family Leisure has done it again, and just in time for the holidays, they have the ultimate game room sale. From pool tables to theater seating, Family Leisure has you covered. If you like pool, or you like shuffleboard, or you like air hockey, there's a special price, and your friends will love coming over to your house if you want to watch the big game, or you want to watch a movie on Netflix or HBO. You can't get more comfortable than you will be in that beautiful theater seating that Family Leisure has, and it's on sale with the Ultimate Game Room Sale. Free delivery, by the way, on all in-stock items. 20% off on all game room accessories. Hey, beat the Christmas rush and get your game ready right now. Family Leisure, I-40 and Whidden Road. They want to make the holiday special at your house this year with the Ultimate Game Room Sale from Family Leisure.
Okay, so usually I'm a last-minute shopper, but the deals at Kohl's, way too good to pass up. I got 40% off holiday decor, 40% off the cutest St. Nicholas square finds for the table, and found the toys topping my kids' list this year. You can even save an extra 15% and get $10 off when you spend $25 or more. So now I get the whole early shopping thing, and I'm a big fan. Select styles, 15% offer ends November 20th. $10 off $25 ends November 12th. Toys, coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling on Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Seth. Brian Dacus producing the program today. So tonight, as far as college football is concerned, we have a decent matchup.
Great quarterback matchup.
That's what I was going to say. You have North Carolina, who has not reached expectations. Pitt, who I think has exceeded expectations, but Pickett versus Howell tonight. That should be a fun one on a Thursday.
The quarterback in the preseason that we thought would be the Heisman Trophy candidate versus the actual Heisman Trophy candidate as we are into November play in Kenny Pickett for Pitt. How much does a loss to Western Michigan? Could you vote for somebody for the Heisman that lost to Western Michigan?
Yes, I could. Because he's been so great. And he doesn't
He's
really
at 29 touchdown passes. That's amazing.
Does he have a bunch of guys around him that really wow you in any way, shape, or form? Wide receivers,
I don't
running
think
backs?
so.
No.
I do like that coach and that plan, and maybe if he wanted to, in the domino effect, he might pop up for some other landing spots. They have 2 losses, the one to Western Michigan that I've talked about. I don't think he can afford a third loss and win it.
No, I think it finished 10-2. ACC championship if they can. I don't know the exact standings of what they're looking at right now, but I know they're at the top of that conference. But I did see Mel Kiper Jr. has Kenny Pickett as his first quarterback on his big board.
And could go to the Steelers. Could be a hometown pick.
And it's weird when you have the conversations around an older prospect. He's 23, going to be 24 before he ever takes a snap in the NFL. But I don't remember people having that conversation about Joe Burrow at all. Joe Burrow was an older prospect. Joe Burrow had to transfer. He was a senior when he came out.
That's a good point. They didn't have that about him. The Steelers passed on hometown Pitt Panther product way back when in Dan Marino and paid dearly. I mean, they paid they paid till Dan Marino strolled into Canton. That's how long they had to pay. I'm not saying Kenny Pickett's Dan Marino though.
If I'm a quarterback though, that as far as the landing spot is concerned, Steelers would be fantastic to be a part of. They're so stable. They have a bunch of wide receivers.
They're anti-Jacksonville.
Yes, and they have a young O-line that's growing into themselves. They have Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, James Washington still on the roster, Najee Harris, who they drafted last year. You have a bunch of ways to succeed.
Well, you have real owners in the Rooneys, and you have a real coach in Mike Tomlin.
Yes. Now, elsewhere around college football, not great news here. This is bad news. Georgia linebacker Adam Anderson has officially been charged with rape. Obviously, he's their sack leader. He voluntarily surrendered to the police last night, so we will continue to give updates on that, but not looking good for Adam Anderson. And also, UConn has made a hire. I know Brian Dacus has got to be excited about this one. Jim Mora Jr. He doesn't go by Junior, though, anymore, I noticed. He doesn't want to be called Junior. He goes by Jim L. Mora. But Jim Mora, who was most recently at UCLA.
And he was playoffs.
Yes, and he was the head coach of the Falcons for a while, defensive coach. And, Brett, I remember he can recruit.
Home run hire.
He can recruit. And I know at UConn.
Home run hire at UConn.
I know at
Okay.
UConn it's impossible to really recruit to the level he was recruiting at
Just
UCLA.
parked it.
Brett, that team, the teams he had at UCLA, I played the one in 2014.
You did.
When you talk about NFL talent all over that field, Kenny Clark, Brett Hundley was the quarterback, Paul Perkins the running back. Who else? You had Miles Jack, Eric Kendricks. I mean, he did a good job with UCLA up until the very end, and I thought he was a decent coach until then.
Yeah, he's got the pro experience and the pro pedigree, son of Jim Mora, and UConn could have done a lot worse. Again, how bad is that atmosphere at UConn, Gabe?
Oh, it's awful. It's so bad.
When you ran out for warm-ups, did you think this is really football?
Disgusting concrete stadium that gets filled maybe, and I hope all the UConn fans listening to our show, I hope they don't get too offended.
Do you think we have one within 600 miles?
They maybe fill it up a 20th of the stadium is filled
it's
up.
An ultimate basketball school.
Yeah. And
basketball country.
I still don't understand their thought process through this whole realignment mumbo jumbo. And to leave the AAC, I think they're still going to be independent, correct? They were about to join the Conference USA.
They wanted back in Madison Square Garden at that basketball tournament.
Yes. Well, they get that anyway. They're going to be fine. They're still in the Big East, and I think Hurley's done a decent job with their basketball program.
Their fandom, though, the first year of the AAC tournament in Memphis in 2014, and UConn went on and won it all that year with Napier and Boatwright. Their fans were great to be around. They are as serious about it as Kentucky fans.
Yeah, that's very true. As far as Jim Mora Jr. is concerned, I don't see why he cannot have at least marginal level of success, and marginal level of success is 5 wins.
Fast.
Is 5 wins. If he builds them up to a bowl game, my gosh, he'll get any job he wants.
Get out of there fast.
Randy Edsall, it really amazes me where they were in the early 2000s compared to where they are now. And his
to a
second
BCS
stint,
game?
his second stint, 6-32 in his
Second stints never work. Never.
But he was the only one to ever have success at that place, football-wise. It's amazing.
I think Skip Holtz had modest success early on there. Modest.
Mm-hmm. But Randy Edsall in the old Big East, he owned for the last couple years of it, owned the old Big East. Had them in an Orange Bowl. I don't remember any of the guys on the team at that time, but he had them in an Orange Bowl, had them winning 10 games for a couple years there. And when he came back, it was never
almost
the same.
as remarkable as Mark Mangino taking KU to an Orange Bowl.
Where's Mark Mangino these days?
Don't know.
We lost track of him. He's not coaching anymore. I don't think he's even as an assistant coach and analyst. Haven't heard from him in a long while. But he did do a heck of a job in the old Big 12 when Mizzou and Kansas ran it there for a while, and that was a heck of a rivalry too. Chase Daniel, Todd Reesing.
Have you been to that game ever?
I have. Yes.
They say it's
fun.
They
and
throw
also,
down.
I used to do the Mizzou Illinois used to be a big rivalry too.
The basketball
Obviously,
game that comes to St.
basketball
Louis
was big, but I remember they were in the Edward Jones Dome one year for the football game when they were both, I think, ranked preseason top 15.
Yeah, early season game.
Mizzou ended up winning. Juice Williams was the quarterback for Illinois. Rashard Mendenhall was the running back. So they had a good team. And that was that Ron Zook? Ron Zook, I think, was the head coach there for Illinois.
And he went to a Rose Bowl.
Yes, he did. But when we come back, Ole Miss versus A&M this weekend, College Game Day will be in town. We bring on Brad Logan to talk that and more on the other side on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5.
Is your bank standing in the way of you and your sportsbook? Try Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. No more bank delays or failures. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home at Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year, we're there to vaccinate more than 1 million. Because some countries have only 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we provided over 400,000 mental health consultations last year. The fact is, your support makes our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine is celebrating their 35th year. Come in today and choose from a big selection of tequilas, vodkas, and over 70 different single malts. Bourbon whiskey fans will find over 200 bourbons and whiskeys from around the world, along with wines from every region for all you wine enthusiasts. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, 146 Highway 72, Suite 102 in Collierville. It's next to Captain John's Barbecue. Open every day, including Sundays from 10 to 7 for football and all sports fans. Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine, celebrating 35 years with you.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that PIN, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time, as simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend, Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Hour number 2 is here of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. A quick look ahead. Hour number 2, Brad Logan joins us in just a second. At 4:30, we'll give you our Thursday night football preview and pick. And later, at the bottom of the hour, we'll bring on Keith Smith to talk some NBA from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rack. But we bring on our friend, Brad Logan, the host of the Believe in Ole Miss podcast, to talk about this matchup. Ole Miss, number 15, hosting number 11 A&M. College game day will be on hand. Brad, how are you?
I'm doing well, Gabe. Thank you very much for having me on. And, Brett, it's always a pleasure. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say, growing up, listening to Sports Time before the podcast, before the invention of the Internet, hearing someone like George Lapidus, Big Jack Eaton, Jeff Weinberger, it's a privilege to be on with you gentlemen today.
Man, Brad, that is right. Most kind on your part, and we're honored to have you on because we have a lot of respect for you, and we know you have the appreciation and the love for college football that Gabe and I share when you and I are around each other. I mean, it is nothing but a college football conversation. And for the Ole Miss Rebels, Saturday against Texas A&M and game day being back here, Brad, that's what Ole Miss wanted. That's what Keith Carter wanted when he made the move of his friend, his classmate. Their wives are friends, but he recognized that we were kind of running in place with Matt. He made the move for Lane Kiffin. This is what Ole Miss wanted, isn't it, Brad?
It is. And, Brett, you and I have talked about this, and you look at where Ole Miss was back in 2014. Fast forward through some lean years with the NCAA, and I have to say, the glue that has held all of this together is, without question, Director of Athletics Keith Carter. He is the reason that Lane Kiffin is on campus. He's the reason that College Game Day is back on campus. And quite frankly, Gabe and Brett, he's the reason that game day has come back and that the Ole Miss program is affluent again, because there were some very lean years, and a lot of that has to do with some decision-making by the administration and by the coaching staffs. It's all kind of a new deal now, and the funny part about all this is you look across the country, you see programs that have great players, then you see how programs that have great coaches. At Ole Miss, they've got a nice combination of the two. You throw in a nice athletic director that's made some great decisions, and you get College Game Day on campus, and you get a team that's ranked in the top 15 of the college football playoff.
Brad, what do you view as, even from last year, from 2020 to 2021, what do you view as the biggest difference in this Ole Miss team? Why do you think the improvement has been so vast?
I think the way that Matt Corral has grown as a quarterback, and also, this defense was much maligned last year under DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator, along with Chris Partridge. And I think Now, a lot of the same players, but then you throw in a linebacker like a Chance Campbell, you throw in a defensive lineman like an Isaiah Eaton, and then you throw in Jake Springer and then an Otis Reese Jr., who's had a couple of games under his belt, but has not played a full season. So you've got 4 big-time players that have came in and played defense that has done well for this team. Defense, to me, Gabe, has been the key component for Ole Miss winning games that they didn't win last year. You look at games like Arkansas, Tennessee, and Liberty to a certain extent. All 3 of those games had the defense making plays at the end of the game. Now, look, understands what's happened in between the 20s. They give up a lot of points. Red zone defense has been a big key this year for Ole Miss. And number 2, making key plays at very important moments of the game. And what I've been talking about, end of the game plays, and they've made those this year. And that's why this team has only lost 2 games.
Brad, we were so excited in 2014. I said on your podcast earlier this week, whatever it is, there's no time like the first time. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you're accomplishing, that was so fun, but very different this time. That was early October, 2 undefeated teams, Alabama and Ole Miss. Now this is almost middle of November, 2 teams with 2 losses each. But in a weird way, this is almost a bigger game because to the defeated, you're just going to go to probably a good bowl. To the victor, you keep that flicker of hope alive.
And that flicker of hope for an Ole Miss fan is a trip to New Orleans. And what Ole Miss fan do you know has ever turned down a trip to New Orleans?
0.
It's a great opportunity to get to the Sugar Bowl. Now, look, they may not get there, but I know they're very high on the list of the Sugar Bowls committee. For Ole Miss, it's a little different than the 2014 season, Brad. Being the first time is always a big time, even for College Game Day. When Chris Fowler and Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit were there, they had the bow tie on. They to this day, I've heard podcasts where Kirk has said in fact, in his book, he said it was one of the most enjoyable game days he's ever had, and it was in the Grove, and he specifically calls that out. And he's been to a lot of game days since 1995. So, but for Ole Miss, I went by the campus today, and they're getting the set up, and look, I think Ole Miss will come out in droves, and it'll be a great opportunity. It'll just be different, with Katy Perry in town last time coming, and it was a big extravaganza. I do think it will be different, and I think the game, oddly enough, Brett, I agree with you. I think it's different this year because I think it's a bigger game for Ole Miss and its program. It almost got a free shot, Brett and Gabe, last time. This is not really a free shot. This is a game to where Ole Miss needs to win because there are bigger things at play here. There are bigger things at the end of the season from recruiting to does Lane stay here. From an Ole Miss standpoint, they really need to win the game, and it's a game to where I don't know how well Ole Miss is going to play on Saturday or how big of a chance they've got because, real quick, just the lines of scrimmage I think are going to play key because of that offensive line has been injured for Ole Miss. Orlando Umana, the starting center, is dealing with a left-hand injury. Caleb Warren's going to be, it's more of a pain tolerance deal. They haven't been happy with some backups, so they had to flip Jalen Cunningham over to the offensive side of the ball. A lot of unanswered questions on that offensive front, and I think Ole Miss is probably going to face one of the best defensive lines, not only in the SEC but in the country.
Yeah, as far as the running game goes, that's something that I don't think a lot of people pay attention to. Lane Kiffin's done a good job of getting that O-line going, getting those running backs going. Who in this game, for this particular situation, is the guy you think as far as taking the brunt of the carries, taking most of the carries? Who needs to be that guy going against A&M?
I really think it's Jerrion Ely, and I think Brett may say Snoop Connor, but let me explain why I think it's going to be Jerrion Ely. Snoop Connor's really had a difficult time blocking this year, and I think that's one thing that I think that Elko's going to do for Texas A&M is bring a lot of pressure. That's not good news for Snoop Connor. Ely's done a better job at chip blocking. I don't think he's great at it, but for Ole Miss, they're going to have to throw the football, whether it be vertically or the little bubble screens outside the line of scrimmage to open up the running game. If they can't throw the football down the field, they're going to have a hard time winning the game. That's why I think it's paramount for Dontario Drummond, who did not dress last week, to play, along with Braylon Sanders, who played sparsely. Basically, I think both those guys play. I don't think Jonathan Mingo will play, but the good news on the season, which is a show that chronicles each game for Ole Miss, at the end of the season episode, he said, "I'll be back," or "See you soon." And I think he plays. Maybe not this week, but possibly by the Egg Bowl or the bowl game. Lane Kiffin said on Monday that he expects him to play at some point this season. If Ole Miss can throw the ball down the field, that opens up some running games. But I think we may see a big game from Jerrion Ely for Ole Miss running the football.
No, Brad, I agree, and I like your analysis about whether to use Jerrion Ely or Connor, because what I understand is they get a little disenchanted with Connor on the edge, not necessarily blitz pickup coming straight at him. He's fine with that, but just like when he runs the ball, he's not much side to side. He's kind of a straight ahead guy.
Right.
Same thing on the blitz pickup. And Gabe, you could probably highlight this. Not only are the running backs not picking up that very well on the outside, the injuries at tight end have hurt coming off the edges as well.
Yeah, you have to decide in a game like this, where I think Texas A&M has a chance with their front seven to sort of put it on that sort of decimated to a certain extent Ole Miss O-line. You have to decide who do you want in there. Snoop Connor, I think, can get those tough yards when there's not much there. Jerrion Ely, though, can at times make something out of nothing and get those big chunk plays for you once in a while. So you have to sort of I think that there needs to be a certain balance. But I was just curious y'all's opinion on who in this certain situation, in this game, needs to be the guy.
And one question, Brett, is I'd love your opinion on this. Chase Rogers is the tight end. I was told he may be able to play this week. Now, Casey Kelly's done a great job in regards to receiving the football from Matt Corral, but he has not done a great job blocking. Now, if Chase Rogers can come back, that may open up an opportunity for Snoop Connor. But I look at this, quite frankly, I look at this Texas A&M defensive front with DeMarvin Leal, along with Tyree Johnson, Jaden Peavy, and Michael Clemens. Those are four guys that are mean,
right,
and they can really put a lot of pressure on a quarterback that, we haven't talked about Matt Corral being healthy. I expect Matt to be somewhere around 70%. I don't expect him to leave the pocket unless he's forced to. Very well could be forced to a lot on Saturday because I think they're going to bring a lot of pressure. Look, this Ole Miss team didn't rush the ball very well in the second half against Liberty. But to be fair, if you stack the box with eight people, it's going to be tough to run on anybody. And for Ole Miss to be successful against A&M, they've got to throw vertically on this Aggie defense. And I think if they can open up that Aggie defense a little bit, force Mike Elko to make some decisions with his defensive backs, that gives a Snoop Connor a running lane. It gives a Jerrion Ely running. I don't care how good the running backs are. If you've got 8 or 9 in the box, there's nowhere to go.
How much RPO do you think will be in the game plan this week?
Brett, I don't think it'll be very much. And the reason I say that is because I don't think Matt Corral is going to be much of a running threat.
Yeah. Our guest is Brad Logan. You can follow Brad on Twitter. He's a college football devotee at Brad Logan, COTE. That's corner of the end zone at Brad Logan, COTE. Always fun to visit with Brad. Brad, last weekend we had the homecoming or the return back to Oxford in the game against the head coach of Liberty, and that was Hugh Freeze. This week, the first time since, I guess he was here. He was here in 2019, but a return of Ross Bjork. In all the fight and the dust up with the NCAA and everything that came through, Ross never got as hard by it as Coach Freeze did. Naturally, he wouldn't because he was the administrator. But I don't feel the animus toward from fans or myself about Ross that some may have shared with for Coach Freeze. Do you?
No, I don't. And we haven't heard. I say we, being the media, and I don't think I've seen it very much on social media. Very animus towards Ross Bjork. In fact, Ross Bjork came in. He came in after me either. He came in after Pete Boone, who done a nice job when he was in Oxford as athletic director. But look what Ross did. He expanded the stadium, bought Hemingway Stadium in the North End. He did a great job with the pavilion. He was he was there when Ole Miss. Now I think Keith did a lot of hiring Coach Joe and also hiring Kermit Davis. But Ross was the athletic director. He had to sign off on it. They did a lot of things positively in the Olympic sports. So Ross left his mark on the Ole Miss program. Obviously, they had the dust up with the NCAA, but that's another kind of conversation for another day. How he handled that, along with Chancellor Vitter and head coach Hugh Freeze. At the end of the day, Ross landed in a great spot, and from all accounts, is doing a phenomenal job at Texas A&M. But to answer your question, Brett, I don't think there's very little animosity towards Ross Bjork at all from an Ole Miss standpoint.
And I've heard Brett's take on this last week with the Ole Miss social media sort of dust up with Hugh Freeze. What did you think of that? Do you have any takes on that?
Not really. I'll be honest with you. I didn't care for it.
Okay.
I didn't feel like that it was a situation to where Ole Miss should step down a level, if that makes sense.
Right.
I felt like
be
Ole
bigger
Miss
than
should have
that.
just kind of tipped their hat and moved along to Hugh Freeze. I thought they did a nice job on the season. Mike again and his crew do a phenomenal job. And I'll say this: I know Keith Carter did not sign off on that, and that was rectified very quickly. And I do not expect anything like that to happen again. But no, that is not something I would have supported.
Right.
This job that Lane Kiffin has done, 5-5 last year, 7-2 through 9 games this year, 3 left. All 2 of the 3 could be lost. I don't think there's any scenario to lose to Vanderbilt,
Right.
but a loss Saturday A&M, a loss Thanksgiving night to Mississippi State and the Egg Bowl sure could happen. What if he won out? What if he goes 10-2? Is he deserving of any Coach of the Year, SEC accolades, or maybe even nationally?
I think it may be national, Brett, because Ole Miss, you don't like, I know Ole Miss fans don't like to admit this or probably don't like to be told this, but this is, Ole Miss is not an upper level SEC job. It's middle of the road. It's not a program that's had just a ton of success in the national spotlight. So I think it would be one of Lane Kiffin's better coaching jobs. And quite frankly, you have to date back to when Hugh Freeze took the team down to the Sugar Bowl back in 2015. And prior to that, you've got to go back to when Houston took the team to back-to-back Cotton Bowls. 10-win seasons are few and far between in Oxford. So if Lane Kiffin were able to do that, it would be one of the better coaching jobs in the last 25 years for sure, and definitely worthy of a postseason award category for Coach Kiffin.
How many jobs do you think Jeff Lebby will be up for when we get to the offseason as far as lower level jobs? Maybe because you talk to Lane Kiffin, you ask him about the offense, and a lot of people would just assume that Lane Kiffin's the main play caller, he's the game planner. But Lane Kiffin makes it very clear Jeff Lebby is the guy, and that offense has been rolling.
Yeah, he's going to be named in a lot of coaching searches because of his offensive prowess. Got a heck of a coaching tree, and he's done a phenomenal job when he's been in Oxford. It's going to be interesting to see how Keith Carter, the athletic director, navigates through these waters, because Keith's a smart guy. He understands who agents are. He understands the coaching community, and he understands that if Lane Kiffin were to take a job that happened to be presented to him, that he's got to find a coach that would represent Ole Miss. And I think is Jeff Lebby one of those names that you would like to think about? Personally, I think Jeff Lebby would be a nice coach to slide right in. He may not be the guy that Keith Carter's talking about. If he is, you have to think those conversations have taken place. We've seen some jobs open up. For example, Central Florida last year, when the Knights decided to go with Gus Malzahn, I think it's pretty common knowledge that Jeff Lebby was up for that job. He was very, in tune with that job and pretty high up the chain. And from what we understand, Jeff Lebby wanted it. He didn't get it. Luckily for Ole Miss, he's still in Oxford and doing a great job. The question is, how many jobs come up? What jobs would he take? Gabe, I think there are a number of jobs he would probably look at. Every coach wants to be a head coach.
Of course.
As for Ole Miss, they'll have to decide what decision do they make if Lane bolts. What do they do with Jeff Lebby? That's a good question.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be fascinating to watch. And, the rosiest scenario, win out 10-2, Lane Kiffin, National Coach of the Year candidate. Also, you win out, Jeff Lebby in line for the Broyles Award that's presented by the Little Rock Touchdown Club to the Assistant Coach of the Year. Brad Logan, our guest. Brad, we know how good I think everybody understands how good Georgia that they are. How good's the SEC?
Yeah. I don't think it's great. And I know that's not, probably don't want to go on the SEC network and say that, but I think the SEC's had better years. You know what, Brett, I think, and Gabe, I think the Big Ten having a lot of publicity, they signed the new deal with Fox, and they've got the big game on noon. The Michigan State-Michigan game did a huge number for them. So I think the emergence of the Big Ten, and look, football's better when Michigan's better. I get all that. But I think it's taken a little bit of shine off the SEC. With Alabama and LSU going down to the wire, probably doesn't help the SEC down the road because it was a lame duck coach in Ed Ogeron taking Alabama to the wire. Does that mean Alabama is gettable? I'm not real sure, but that does not help the SEC. It looks like it's Georgia, and then it appears, across the country, people look at Alabama and see a beatable Alabama, so that takes a little shine off the SEC. Tennessee's not there. Kentucky goes to Starkville. We thought it may be a better Kentucky team. They lose in Starkville. Again, not taking anything away from Mississippi State. They played well, and they beat Kentucky, but they appear to be not elite. You've got a Florida team that's won a number of national championships in the past. They've got a coach in Dan Mullen that feels like he's a dead man walking. There are a lot of question marks in the SEC, and it only appears that Georgia's going to come out smelling pretty good because out of the West, you've got some teams kind of in the middle of the road. You've got Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M all kind of hanging out there. Arkansas is kind of an ebb and flow this year. So I'm interested to see how it all shakes out, but this is not an elite year for the SEC.
And with that, it's interesting that you say that because you look at the argument for Bama being at 2 in the college football playoff rankings, and everybody points to strength of schedule. Oh, well, of all the teams in the top 10, they have the highest strength of schedule. Do you think Alabama is worthy of that number 2 spot at this moment?
Probably not, and I understand I'm in the minority there, but I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in teams winning. I'm not a big believer in quality losses.
Right.
I think I'm all about you roll the ball out. Let's get after it and let's win. I don't like teams that are being left out, and I'm not a big group of 5 guy that says they think they need a fair shake. But on the flip side, Cincinnati's done what it's taken to get there. And I'm not saying they need to be in the top 4 by any stretch, but I think Cincinnati deserves a fair shake here because they played the big boys. They beat the big boys. Do I think that Alabama would run roughshod over Cincinnati? No, I don't. I think if they met on a neutral side, it would be a good game. Understand, I'm in the minority there. I really like what Cincinnati's done offensively, and I think Alabama would struggle with that. I think we saw that Alabama is not invincible by what we've seen against Texas A&M and what Ed Ogeron and Max Johnson did to the Crimson Tide this past Saturday. And I'm not in the business of they were sleepwalking. Well, that doesn't work. There are 12 games on the schedule. You got to get up and play all 12 of them.
Yep. Mm-hmm. But he is Brad Logan at Brad Logan COTE on Twitter. Brad, we appreciate it.
Great stuff.
I hope you can join us down the road.
It's an honor, guys, and thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the show.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan and look forward to you guys. Look forward to hearing you guys down the road.
Thank you, Brad. See you Saturday. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Ole Miss this weekend. It's going to be rocking. Should be fun. Who's going to be the guest picker if they announce that yet?
Well, we're waiting any second now. I know negotiations might be tearing a little long for Katy Perry. I think she was in Nashville last night at a country music award ceremony. I don't know. I mean, I honestly.
Who's on the short list for you? Who's on the short list? Let's take off Katy Perry. She's done it before.
I think Morgan Freeman would be way up there, and really nice man and big Ole Miss fan. I think there are some others, but we'll see. Can you tap into that twice, like it happened in 2014? Maybe so. Will be fun to see. I'm going to be out there bright and early on Saturday morning for sure, and sure want to be there at the helmet moment. It is, Gabe, you got to see it in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in Memphis got to see it. I was so happy and proud for my Tiger friends and for the Tigers to experience that moment. And they got an early November. It was about like last weekend, the weekend that they came to Memphis. So when you get up into November and game day there, it really matters. There's no energy like it. It's one of the real unique things about college football. And I told Drew, and he texted me, he said, literally tears in my eyes. Mm-hmm. I said, there's nothing like when that stage director over that PA starts giving that countdown and they bring that music up and they're kind of razzing the crowd up. It's a great feeling.
No, and honestly, when you're talking about Memphis and the SMU that whole weekend, I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it, just considering it was shoulder to shoulder on Beale, and obviously this is before COVID-19. We didn't even know what was ahead of us after the Cotton Bowl even. It was just, it really was a sight to behold.
And then it builds to the big moment, and, I know he's getting up there, but still the contribution Lee Corso's made to college football is a tremendous one.
Yep. You sort of wonder when the end of the road is for him, but he's continuing to go out there every weekend and
Central
get it going.
You know what people are watching.
Yep. He's
on
throwing
Saturday
on that
morning
head.
during
He's
the fall.
throwing on the head. That's exactly what he's doing. When we come back, We're going to talk a little bit of the NFL. OBJ signs with the Rams. Cam Newton signs with the Panthers. We'll talk that, and then we'll get to Thursday Night Football. Ravens are visiting the Dolphins. We will discuss that, do our preview, and make a pick when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
I'm with John Burgos in the alley at the world-famous Rendezvous. John, it's so good to see you. How are things at the restaurant?
Thank you, Brett. We are here and we're making it. I have to say a big thank you to all of our customers that ordered food during the curbside days, bought gift certificate when times were slow, ordered food to be shipped from our shipping kitchen, and then came back down to eat when our doors reopened. We owe a debt to the Memphis and surrounding community for supporting us when we need it. I hope y'all all come eat some barbecue with us, but I also hope you'll support our local restaurants. And if your service is a little slow or an item isn't on the menu that you enjoy, cut them a little slack. Hopefully it'll be there soon.
Thank you, John. We appreciate you for feeding all of us, and we will take that advice to heart.
Brett, we also have a new twist at the Rendezvous. We now have outdoor dining. It's in the side alley along the Rendezvous, not the one in the front. And depending on the weather and depending on staffing, please call ahead to make sure we're open. And we hope it becomes a mainstay here at the Rendezvous.
Mr. Charlie Burgos' world-famous Rendezvous in the alley in downtown Memphis.
There's nothing more frustrating than when your garage door breaks down. You're trying to get to work and it just won't open. What's the deal? Well, I'm not a garage door expert, but my friends at New Day Overhead Doors are. I was using New Day to fix my garage way before they came aboard with us. They are your one-stop shop for all your garage door and garage door opener maintenance needs. True professionals. And get this, New Day will beat their major competitors' price, oftentimes by half. That's half the price. 30 years experience, honest, dependable, family-owned business. Don't ignore those strange noises your garage door may be making. It's New Day Overhead Doors for a simple repair or new garage door opener system. To schedule your appointment, call 901-351-5177. That's 901-351-5177. New Day Overhead Doors.
Jason Horowitz here from Westwood One with a Thursday night football preview. It's AFC action from South Florida when the Dolphins host the Ravens. Miami coming off its second win of the season, breaking a 7-game losing skid. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback last week. But now the Dolphins face one of the conference's top teams with Lamar Jackson and the 6-2 Ravens coming to town. Baltimore head coach John Harbaugh says he never doubted his team in last week's come-from-behind overtime win over the Vikings.
I trust our guys to make plays, to make blocks. You got Lamar. Our running backs really stepped it up to play great football. I mean, I could sit here and talk about everybody. The offensive line, we ran the ball to win the game at the end. So those are the things that, that goes all into that faith in the ball. That's what all goes into that.
Ian Eagle and Ross Tucker will have all the action when the Dolphins host the Ravens on Thursday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long. Right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Napa know-how. When you buy the Napa bag for 99 cents, you'll get 20% off 3 or more items. No other bag saves you 20% on wipers, premium oil, headlamps, and more, which makes the Napa bag the best bag in the world. Sorry, handbags, man bags, punching bags, bagpipes, and even you, bags out of the eyes. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how. Napa know-how. At participating locations, does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Offer ends 11/30/21.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether you're driving for distance, pitching for precision, or putting to win it all, come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop to get custom fit for all your clubs throughout your bag. Hit a few balls and let our team show you the latest swing technology and data that will help optimize your game. Having each club tailored to become your gamers will help you start shooting lower scores. Let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you make every shot the perfect one. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hey y'all, Johnny Radio here from Sports 56. They're letting me loose this Friday at Town Village, Audubon Park. Come hang with me from 11 to 1, have some Q from Three Little Pigs Barbecue, gift cards from Neil's, and from my chiropractor, Dr. Star Cheshire. He's gonna back your back up. I'll also be throwing out some Tiger football and basketball tickets, so get yourself here Friday, 11 to 1, Town Village, Audubon Park, at the corner of Park and Cherry, with me, Johnny Radio, on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Halfway home on a Thursday on Sports Time on Sports 56. Gabe Kuhn, Brett Stats, Norsworthy, and Brian Dacus producing the program. We have some text we'll read in just a little bit on the AutoZone listener line, 901-360-8255. Also watch us live and message us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and at sports56whbq.com. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we will have Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rack talking NBA. But right now we get to some NFL news. And the news of the day, 2 signings made. Odell Beckham Jr. will start with first. Signs with the Rams. He adds to a really deep team. Let's be completely honest. They have the star power. Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, Matt Stafford. Honestly, Cooper Kupp's getting into that sort of stardom. He's leading the league in receiving yards this year. But as far as
your old teammate,
as far as that wide receiver, Darrell Henderson. As far as that wide receiver corps is concerned, that's deep now. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, and Odell sort of replaces Deshaun Jackson, who ended up stepping away and getting released.
Van Jefferson, who started at Ole Miss before he transferred out after the NCAA stuff to Florida, and he had good hands, great route runner, was always fun to be around. His dad played in the NFL. Very, very nice man, very nice family. And the Rams are going for it. They anything shy of hosting, like the Buccaneers did last year with really limited to no fans, the Rams, it's going to be come one, come all for Stan Kroenke, and Kroenke may need it to pay off his lawsuit in St. Louis.
They're talking about expansion as far as the NFL is concerned. 4 places. London was mentioned.
Gabe, I had a person in St. Louis tell me they will settle for nothing less than a franchise in St. Louis.
I don't doubt it. And they are in St.
Louis.
The
league may have to.
I was going to say, they have all of the chips. They're holding the chips over the NFL, if people can believe that.
Give me a nickname. It won't be Rams. It won't be Cardinals. What will it be?
Let's think. Can't be the Saints.
No, can't be the Saints. We got that on the Mississippi River.
Get back. You know what, Brett? Get back to me on that.
You got it. Get
back to me on that.
That was a tough one.
Is there a sense to you?
Go with the old steamers from Rob Soccer days?
The St. Louis steam, yeah. I have some memories. I went to a couple
Rob's
steamers.
Got a championship ring from the steamers.
I went to a couple steamers games in my day. But does this, with Odell Beckham Jr., does this kind of give you the vibe of, I'm not going to say be careful what you wish for, but now that Odell Beckham Jr. is on a team with what people consider an elite quarterback, with what people consider an elite head coach, if this doesn't work out for him here, I think a lot of people will say it can't work out anywhere.
Yeah, how many more doors will open for him? It felt like in Cleveland with his running mate Jarvis Landry that was going to work with a young up-and-coming quarterback in Baker Mayfield. At the end of Eli in New York, it came undone. OBJ's so very talented, and it's getting him all these chances, but eventually all those play out too. You got to produce. You got to perform.
Yep. And I think you could say the same about Matt Stafford and about Sean McVay. Now that you have all of this talent around you, make it happen, go win a Super Bowl. Just want to mention this from BetMGM. Rams Super Bowl odds before the Odell Beckham signing, plus 800. Rams Super Bowl odds after the Odell Beckham signing, plus 800. Stayed the exact same.
Yeah.
No change there.
Didn't move those guys.
Now, the other signing, Cam Newton to the Panthers.
Worth trying.
Up to $10 million for the rest of the year. They need a quarterback. P.J. Walker, the one time he got in this year was 3 for 14, threw an interception, was not good. Sam Darnold's gone for the rest of the year. I don't know if I think his days are numbered with the Panthers in general, Sam Darnold. Started off the season.
Days could be.
Sam Darnold started off the season so great. I think he could probably land as a backup somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that. But his first few games were fantastic. Since then, not great. Injuries are going to basically end his year. But for the Panthers, this is kind of like a –
Cam Newton's the greatest offensive player in Panthers history, if not greatest player overall, isn't he?
But
maybe
up now.
Julius Peppers.
Cam Newton didn't get them to heights they haven't really seen. An MVP,
MVP,
too.
Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara.
It was short-lived.
I was there.
It was
He wouldn't dive for the ball. That was on the end I was sitting on, too.
It was relatively short-lived. It was relatively short-lived. But this is not the same Cam Newton that was there the first time around.
No.
This is dating the girl in high school and then coming back about 10 years later, and she doesn't look the same.
But maybe worth it.
Yeah, but it may be. It may be. And I hope it works out for Cam Newton because he's been through a lot in his NFL
1 year
career.
He had
it's
in
just
SEC
the
in
injuries.
2010.
It's best year.
We'd never seen anything like it.
One of the best. His best quarterback year, arguably, in college football history. I think Joe Burrow is up there, too. Joe Burrow, what he did in his second year at LSU.
You know, the year Johnny won it, but then Johnny had the year after that. But one and only year, and Burrow had 2 years and went to the Fiesta Bowl his first year against Central Florida. But 1 year, one shot at it for Cam Newton, and he cashed it all in. Heisman, national champion, everything.
Mm-hmm.
The comeback in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and I just wish in the NFL that he ran too much with Ron Rivera as the head coach and
those hits
what they did. He took way too many hits. And I remember
hits would be a penalty on a running
I was
back.
say the conversations then were about how they were just allowing people to nail him because he was 6'5",
It's what used to be done to Shaq because he's that big. You know, it's like me. Every time I'm around you, I kind of want to, walk up and hit you in the shoulder, don't I?
Yeah. Well, that's like the big when you're getting recruited as a offensive lineman, the O-line coach comes up and just smacks you on the shoulder as hard as he can. See how thick you are. See if you can take it.
You wouldn't do the slot receiver like that.
No, you wouldn't. You'd break him. You
wouldn't do the 5-star quarterback like that.
And they're having the same conversations about Lamar Jackson with how he gets hit sometimes.
Well, he plays tonight, and that's a different quarterback matchup tonight. Jacoby Brissett against Lamar Jackson. And Brian Flores, last year we had signs of hope for the Dolphins. There aren't many this year.
No, there's not. And the Dolphins fans are already talking about possibly moving on from Brian Flores, trying to find different leadership.
All the coaches,
and
all the quarterbacks since Shula and Marino.
But Thursday Night Football tonight, Ravens visit the Dolphins. They're 7.5-point favorites on the road against the Dolphins. Lamar this year has shown more to me, I think, than any year in his career, even considering his MVP year. What he's done passing the ball, he's 9th in passing yards in the NFL, 13 TDs, 7 INTs through the air, and he's 7th in rushing still. We know he'd be up there. But Lamar has proved more to me this year than any year in his career.
Me too, and I don't think he's a prove-it player. It's there. He's the MVP.
Right. Yeah.
But to some, he's got some loud critics and some doubters. None for me. Tonight, Baltimore minus 7.5 at Miami. Give me Miami straight up. 19-17 Dolphins.
Now the Ravens did have to kick a 64-yard field goal to beat the Lions earlier in the year.
Well, he's automatic.
And yeah, Justin Tucker. If you get into an in-game situation where he's gonna
kick to win the game,
it's
good.
Yep, you're going to win the game.
Gabe,
I'm sorry. I have to go Ravens minus 7.5. Dolphins have been terrible. They have issues everywhere. Tua, I don't know if they believe in him. The O-line is terrible. They can't run the ball. They won't run the ball tonight. And here's the other thing that is weird about the Dolphins roster in general. They have spent so much on that secondary. 2 of the 10 highest paid cornerbacks, Xavier Howard, you remember before the season wanted a new contract even though he re-upped last year, and Byron Jones. So they have 2 of the highest paid cornerbacks, but they're 30th in pass defense this year. So this team just has so many issues, and the Ravens, I think, will take advantage. I think Lamar takes advantage. I think they win and cover. Bryant.
Well, the Ravens played into overtime last week, short week. I'll take the Dolphins plus 7.5.
And Bryant's been hot. He
sure has been. Plus 14 points, 59 and 53 for the year. 30-22 in the NFL. You know, tomorrow at 4 o'clock when we have Bruce
need to have
Marshall on.
Bryant.
You know what Bruce Marshall is this year in the NFL with us? 15-3.
That's pretty good. That's pretty dang good. We need to have Bryant pick first, though, Brett, so we can adjust our picks that way.
We do.
Because he has been on it. But we're going to go ahead and get to an early break because we're going to bring on our friend Keith Smith to talk some NBA from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rag. You're listening to Sports 56, 98.5.
The all-new Sports 56 mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Mount Moriah Auto Sales. What sets them apart? Great selection, quality, high-end to low-end cars, and low mileage. Mount Moriah Auto Sales is under new management. Ask for Emmett or Steven. Check out their great selection of cars or trucks. Choose from Dodges, Jeeps, Fords, GMCs, Infinitis, Porsches, Range Rovers, Lexus, Mercedes, BMWs, even Bentleys. Mount Moriah Auto Sales also has a great service department with 12 bays for everything from oil changes to alignment to new tires. Go to MountMoriahAutoSales.com. Pick out your like new car or truck today. Mount Moriah Auto Sales, right on the corner and right on the price.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
It's pretty bad.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind. Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
No matter your learning style or experience level, Babbel has lessons designed for you that will get you speaking quickly and confidently.
I tried learning Spanish before, but I couldn't stick with it until I found Babbel.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
I can't wait to use our new language skills on our upcoming adventures.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hey, congratulations on the new time slot.
Thanks, and congratulations to you for, let's say, doing commercials for Central Barbecue.
That was very diplomatic.
Hey, doing commercials for Central Barbecue is nothing to sneeze at. You get to tell everyone about the best slow-cooked Memphis-style barbecue there is, plus all the other great things at Central Barbecue, like the ribs and the smoked chicken wings and the great bologna sandwich. You get to tell them about those things.
Actually, you just did. You just did the one job I had to do today.
I mean, I didn't mean to.
Fine. You get the new time slot, and you get to tell everyone about Central Barbecue.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, where we've got more ways to get you what you need your way. Get the job done today with our free same-day store pickup. Just order online and pick it up the same day at your local AutoZone. Or get it done tomorrow with our free next-day delivery. Just order on AutoZone.com by 10 p.m. and we'll deliver it to you the next day. Getting your job done just got easier. Free next-day delivery and eligible orders. Restrictions at AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Visit Frontier Western Store this summer to check out tons of new products. Frontier added so many new items in their women's boutique. There are daily arrivals with thousands of on-trend tops, jeans, and pants in stock at amazing prices. And guys, Frontier's your #1 Carhartt store. There's no one around with a larger selection of everyday fits and workwear. Wrangler and Ariat clothing also available. Frontier recently remodeled their entire store and expanded the world-famous boot showroom. Now there are even more dress and work boots in stock. After Ariat boots, then you've got to check out Frontier. There are over 1,000 pair of Ariat boots alone, and thousands more in other brands such as Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, and Twisted X. As if the selection isn't reason enough, there's Frontier's low prices. Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so when you're ready for your next pair, you know right where to come. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
We bring on our friend Keith Smith from Yahoo Sports and Spot Rag on NBA, as we normally do, a little later than normal, but better late than never. Keith, how are you?
I am doing well. I appreciate you guys pushing back. I get to watch my daughter get her first shutout in middle school soccer today.
Oh, yes. Really?
Proud dad moment.
Really? A
Very
goalie?
proud.
Yep. Yeah. Yep, she's a goalie. Yep.
Okay.
Way to go, Keith.
Nice.
It's the best feeling on earth is winning, isn't it?
Yeah, the best feeling is watching her do well and watching her teammates do well. It's better than anything else. That's whatever team she's playing on, that's my favorite team in the world.
For sure.
Now, a team that's been winning more than I think a lot of people thought they would. Wizards, 8-3. I think Kyle Kuzma's been solid, but he's sort of
First
been up
place
and down.
Wizards.
Yeah, the first place Wizards. Spencer Dinwiddie's certainly been a nice addition. How much are you buying into what they've done in the early going?
Yeah, I think it's more for real than it isn't. I think that has good quality depth. I think they've got functional depth, which means they don't have 7 guys who are pretty good but play the same position. They've got about 2 deep at all the spots where you need to be, and they're playing some defense, and their offense is really good. And I thought their win last night when Bradley Beal really played poorly, that's a game in past years they would not have won, and they were able to get all the help they needed from other guys and really look pretty good. So I think they're for real.
I don't think Tom Thibodeau went full Bo Davis on his New York Knicks team, but he did bench all the starters, and that's always kind of the first step of it unraveling and it not ending well for a great coach in Tom Thibodeau. He's rough on his team, but those pro players, they often don't respond to stuff like that, Keith.
Yeah, it depends. You're going to find out real quick, right? Like Greg Popovich does that. He'll do, one of the only guys who do the full hockey sub and sub out a whole line at a time. And we're, 20 plus, 30 years deep into his coaching tenure, and he's doing just fine. But yeah, it's going to depend. Tibbs has the reputation of years 1 and 2 generally go pretty good. It's the years after that where it starts to wear on guys and get a little tough. And that's a team that they masked some roster deficiencies by playing hard and defending last year, and now they've got a couple guys this year who maybe are better offensive talents, but the defense is going to slip a little bit, and we're starting to see some of the effects of that.
So with him, do they just really get worn down, tired under Tom Thibodeau, or is it more that other teams start to catch on to what they're doing defensively and beat it?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I think this year it's now there's a year-plus book on what they want to do, and a lot of it even goes beyond that because Tibbs has been running the same stuff, especially on defense, for years. So I think what you're seeing with the Knicks is teams know they can target Kemba Walker. They can go at Evan Fournier. Those guys were brought in to help upgrade the offense, but your defense takes a step back because those guys are not known as very solid defensive players. They're okay. They can do all right in the system, but they need some people to protect behind them. And they're missing the big guy. Nerlens Noel has been in and out with injuries. Mitchell Robinson has been in and out with injuries.
Yep.
And that's tough because that puts a lot of pressure on the perimeter to hold tight because you don't have the protection behind you at the rim.
Keith, with what's going on with the Pelicans, 1-11, last night was kind of a disgrace in the second quarter. 5 technical fouls. Willie Green's not really controlling what he has on the floor. And granted, they do have Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson out. But even considering they may be in the fold later in the season, do you think that this Pelicans team, with what they have in young players and some of the vets they have, do you think they could ever be successful with what their roster is made up of?
Yeah, it's really hard to judge them without Zion and Ingram out there, but we're starting to see that there's some pretty flawed parts to that roster. The way they constructed the team is a little bit broken. It's a little bit uneven. Doesn't necessarily really fit the modern game the way you want. And their big thing that they're missing is they don't have anybody outside of when Brandon Ingram is healthy who can break down the defense and make a play for somebody other than themselves.
Right.
And that's a pretty big challenge. You need people out there that can get there, make the game a little bit easier for the entire team. And that's been a problem for them so far.
You know and cover the Boston Celtics very, very closely, very, very well. When do we have a kind of a freak-out factor, not over this start, but over really since the bubble, how Boston has played?
I think we've had it a couple times in the last couple of years. It's maybe I'm just so close to it that I see it, but my mentions get filled up with a lot of completely angry people about all sorts of stuff going on with the Celtics. And I think what we're seeing now, though, is in the last week or so, they have really started to say, all right, we're going to lean into this defense. We're going to get after it on that end of the floor, and that has made all the difference for them. And that's what their identity has to be. The offense will come along and be okay. Jason Tatum especially is going to be much better. But defensively, if they can hold teams right around that 100-point marker, they're going to be fine, because then they'll be able to do they'll put just up enough points to get those wins coming in.
Now, another thing last week, I think Shams reported this, that Ben Simmons, and there was some mutual interest, the Celtics and Ben Simmons, and any deal would have to include Jaylen Brown. Would that make any sense? And right now with Ben Simmons, with what's going on, does any deal make sense?
No, to trade Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons makes absolutely no sense for anybody except the Philadelphia 76ers. Right. And it's pretty clear that that's where that came out of. And we're starting to get into a routine here where every few weeks we hear Philadelphia has talked to Team X about Ben Simmons, and any deal must include insert superstar X. And that is what we're starting to hear. And now, from the Celtics side, sure, I believe they probably have had conversations about what would it take to acquire Ben Simmons. That's what you do when you're trying to get really good players on the market. You reach out and make the phone call. But they're not going to trade Jaylen Brown for Ben Simmons. It's just not a move that would make sense, because Jaylen Brown is a much better player than Ben Simmons is at this point. As far as any trade, let's see. It's going to happen eventually, but it's just going to take Philly, as it has all along. They're going to have to move off this enormous ask that they've been going out there for, because they're not going to get superstars plus picks plus all these other things.
For the Celtics, would it make sense if Marcus Smart were involved, Josh Richardson, Al Horford? Do you think that the 76ers eventually, if they want to get a deal done with the Celtics, could ask for a little bit less and still get some good pieces from the Celtics?
Yeah, definitely not Al Horford, because Philly's not going to go back to that again. They've already lived that and decided it didn't work. And Horford back in Boston has had a major impact on the Celtics. So, but yeah, it could be one of those things where if you look at it and say, all right, we can turn two pretty good players into one guy who, it's gone a little far, our collective memory on Ben Simmons now, that he's not very good at all, because our last memory is him passing up an open layup or dunk in the playoffs. But this is a guy who is the most versatile defender in the league, one of the best defenders in the league, and his offensive game has holes in it for certain, but he's not a bad player. So I think what we're really looking at here is, all right, this can be made to work. It's just how do we get there and make it work?
Al Horford's career, will he get Hall of Fame consideration?
It's a good question. Maybe. It's going to be close. I think he's one of those guys who you could push a title across the board and get a ring, and then he plays another 3-4 years at a decently high level like what he's playing at now. I think it would get really close. I'm just not sure we're going to see that out of him. So it'll be close, but you get a ring and you play at a high level for a few more years, you start putting together one of those careers where all of a sudden it's, wow, this guy put together 16, 17 years of good, high-quality play. So, yeah, it would be close at that point, I think.
What did you think of the suspensions and the fines handed down between the Nikola Jokic and Markieff Morris situation? And who do you have in a fight, by the way, the Morris brothers or the Jokic brothers?
Yeah, on that second one, I don't know. I
somebody's getting hurt,
with any
right?
Hey, that's I'll stay out of that. I'll watch that on pay-per-view, I think. But the fines and all that, yeah, I think the NBA handled it well. I think Nikola Jokic was very deserving of the one-game suspension. What he did, he knew immediately after the game that he shouldn't have reacted the way he did. And I think, Markieff Morris, his reasoning of, I always give hard take fouls, that's right. Absolute nonsense. This is not ice hockey. We don't cross-check guys in the middle of the floor. This is, pretty dumb. And Jokic knows there's no reason to, necessarily go as far as he did reacting. So I think the NBA handled it the way they should have.
Yeah,
everybody calm down.
Yeah, and you do hear it's interesting from media members. You see, Nikola Jokic went too far. I think everyone thinks he went too far, but when you talk to some of the older players, I heard the NBA on TNT, the pregame show, you hear Shaq and Charles talk about it, and they say that's retaliation. In my day, we did that. If you fouled me that hard, I was coming back at you. I don't care.
And Shaq and Barkley went in. They showed their fight back from the day, and I mean Barkley was landing punches against Shaq's dome.
Yeah, I mean last night on Celtics broadcast, they showed when Larry Bird and Dr. J
did
throwing punches at each other, and if I remember correctly, I was a very little guy then. I don't think either one of them got even ejected from that game.
Right.
But it's a different game now. You know,
and two Sixers held Larry Bird while Dr. J was popping him.
Yeah, Dr. J got in a few sucker punches there while Larry Bird was held back, and I think that's why Bird then secondarily lost his mind when he finally got free. But yeah, it is. I think there becomes a collective. You know, we don't need to see Kevin McHale clotheslining Kurt Rambis anymore. That's just that's. No. I'm glad we've gotten those kind of things out of the game, but I don't have a huge problem with what Nikola Jokic did, as long as he doesn't have a problem with getting suspended on the back.
Yeah, very true.
That's just going to be how it goes, and if that's how it goes. That's how it goes. And I really look at it as, if you're Markieff Morris, you're going to cross-check a guy in the middle of the open floor. Don't turn your back on him because he's probably coming out.
Very true. But he is Keith Smith at Keith Smith NBA on Twitter. Appreciate it, Keith.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you moving it again.
Absolutely.
You got it.
No problem. Now, that's the end of hour number 2. Hour number 3, we're looking ahead. We have Greg Gaston on the Tigers from the Tigers sideline. We'll talk about a little bit of football, a little bit of basketball. 5:30, we get to what's trending. There's a lot going on today, and then at 5:45, we'll wrap it up with Taco Bell Crunch Time. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats.
I'm Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, and I have to really congratulate Hugh Mallory, who is also with Mark's Bensdorf Realtors, for using his hunting skills when it comes to finding homes for his clients.
Thanks, Sheldon. Yes, I get them into their hunting gear by getting them pre-qualified with a local lender. Then we stalk the prey. We go on the hunt into the multiple listing service, as well as other internet sites that other hunters, other agents, don't use. And once we find what we're hunting, we make the offer to beat other agents out there in the field.
Hugh, that's all well and good. But what do you do once you get the house?
Well, we can't very well mount it on the wall, but our clients will be living in their dream home while everyone else is still hunting.
Remember, while Hugh Mallory moves Memphis at 497-9756, when you want the job done, call Shell Dunn at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. Do it now. memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546.
I'm with Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Shipping Kitchen. Pat, how are things downtown at the Shipping Kitchen?
Thanks, Brett. Wow, what a year it's been. 2020 threw a lot of changes at us. One of them was our great Memphis customers figured out how to ship our ribs all over the country.
Pat, we know you ship your ribs and shoulder all over the country. What are some of the other popular packages?
One of our most popular packages that's come out in the last year or two has been the barbecue nacho box. Well, our nacho box is an all-Memphis box. It includes our pork shoulder. It includes our friends at Poncho's cheese dip. Also includes Brim's chips, Felicia Suzanne's peppers, a bottle of our barbecue sauce, a bottle of our famous seasoning, some reheating tips, wet naps, cook hats, and you can even throw in a box of Dinstall's Cashew Crunch for the sweet tooth.
And Pat, this ships overnight just like the rest.
Brett, it sure does.
Where do we order this great food?
You can get these boxes by visiting our website. Go to www.hogsfly.com.
In the Alley in Mr. Charlie Virgos' Rendezvous, a family-owned restaurant in downtown Memphis since 1948.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you pay a big repair bill on your existing heating and air conditioning system this year? Is your energy-guzzling heating and air conditioning system on its last leg and you think it's worth nothing? Good news, it's buyback days at Conway Services. We'll buy back your repair this year up to $1,500 toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. That's right, we'll buy back your repair up to $1,500, even if we didn't do the repair. Just show us your repair receipt from any company and we'll buy back that repair. If you didn't have a repair bill this year, we'll give you up to $1,500 trade-in for that old energy-guzzling system toward the purchase of select Carrier Infinity systems. When air conditioning systems get older and inefficient, the cost of repairs and higher utility costs almost pay for a new system. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian
Brian Elder, 867-0303. Hurricane season is upon us. Is your roof ready? Are your shingles laying down and sealed properly? Call me right now, 867-0303. They say you get what you pay for. That's why my opinion is free. Maybe you've got years of life left in your roof. If so, I'll tell you that. But if I find storm damage or a compromised roof system, I'll lay out some options for you. Don't let them tell you it needs to be replaced if it only needs a repair. Call me, 867-0303. Has your insurance company already seen it and rejected your claim? Maybe they're correct. Most of the time, they're not. They do tend to become more reasonable once I get involved, though. 867-0303. I'll measure your roof from outer space or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Hey all, Johnny Radio here from Sports 56. They're letting me loose this Friday at Town Village, Audubon Park. Come hang with me from 11 to 1, have some Q from Three Little Pigs Barbecue, gift cards from Neil's, and from my chiropractor, Dr. Star Cheshire. He's going to back your back up. I'll also be throwing out some Tiger football and basketball tickets. So get yourself here Friday, 11 to 1, Town Village, Audubon Park, at the corner of Park and Cherry, with me, Johnny Radio, on Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Third and final hour on this busy Thursday afternoon. Greg Gaston to talk all things Tigers with us. When I say all things, it's football, it's basketball, it's all things with Greg Gaston. But first, let me tell you about FanDuel. NFL Week 10, it's here. FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play. That's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every week. Thursday night football tonight is a great opportunity to give it a try. All you have to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more. If your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Tonight, I like the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins to win the game straight up. I like the game to go under, and I like Lamar Jackson to go under in the passing yards. That's a bold play, but that's how you win big at FanDuel. It makes it so much fun. Fast payouts. Get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. Easy to use, safe and secure. That's what makes FanDuel America's #1 sports book. There's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet, so lock in that bet today, right now on FanDuel Sportsbook, and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up right now with promo code CASH to also receive 30-1 enhanced odds on either team to win during the Monday night matchup between the Rams and the 49ers. Win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code CASH. So they know I sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile and on the web. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. I promised Greg Gaston coming up after I tell you about our title sponsor for this third hour, and we're so proud to have DeSoto Auto Sales with us all these years. We appreciate you so much. They're at 5704 Goodman Road. They are very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. And go online and look at the testimonials of all the many, many pleased customers, repeat customers at DeSotoAutoSales.com. All the cars are test driven, all checked out thoroughly, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go find that special car just for you. You'll be treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere. But they know we live in a world today that time really matters. That's why they care so much about your time, and it's a guarantee. Find the car you want, test drive that car, credit approved, paperwork completed, you're out of there in 45 minutes or less at DeSoto Auto Sales. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience on Goodman Road at DeSoto Auto Sales.
And Brett is right. Every Thursday at 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston joins us, Sports 56 Mornings, and from the Tiger Sideline. He's brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine. Greg, how are you?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
How many statistical boards, how many notes do you have in front of you right now with the confluence of basketball and football at the same time?
Well, it's been busy. I'll be honest with you.
You love
basketball,
it, though.
Yeah, well, I get to do a bunch of the games early in the season, so I got the basketball games and the football games going on at the same time. In fact, tomorrow will be a double, or Saturday will be a double dip for me, as I'll have the football game, work the sidelines for that, and then I'll do play-by-play for ESPN Plus with the basketball game. So, I absolutely love it, Brett.
Yeah, we do, Greg, and I know for you, and it's not ego. We want to be at the action. We want to be in the middle of the action, and you are in the middle of it. A good football win last week, and where this basketball team could take us, that's a lot of action.
Yeah, it always drives me crazy when there are sportscasters in this business that really don't love sports. When they're off, and that's
when
fine.
There's ones like us that really do.
Exactly. Look, I understand trying to recharge the battery, but there's those that just don't even want to be around the live action. I want to be there. I want to be at games even if I'm not working those games, if I'm not doing any part of the broadcast. I just love being a part of the action. And, of course, there's a lot of fans out there that want to be there as well. And there'll be a lot of fans out there on Saturday and Saturday night, and a lot that'll do both like I will. And, yeah, it's a good time right now for Memphis Athletics. A lot going on with this football team, maybe turning that corner last Saturday with the win over then nationally ranked SMU, with that defense really stepping up. And now an opportunity against East Carolina on Saturday to get the 6 wins. Still have 2 more opportunities if they don't get it done, but they got to feel pretty good going into the game against the Pirates, who are a vastly improved team.
And honestly, last week was a stabilizing win for the program. I truly do believe that getting that one against the AP top 25 ranked team will do that for you. But this week, I mean, it looks like defensively they stepped it up as far as pressure is concerned, got 5 sacks against Tanner Mordecai. I would imagine a lot more this week to get after Holton Ahlers.
Look, Mordecai has been a breath of fresh air for SMU, the Oklahoma transfer. I didn't know what to expect going in. He's put up some big numbers. But Ahlers, he's a big, strong dude with a great arm and can run. He can take off and run. So this will be just as big or maybe even a bigger challenge for that Memphis defense. But last week, being able to get 3 turnovers, to only lose the ball 1 time, so Memphis was +2, and they have been negative on the turnover ratio all season long. That was huge. Getting to the quarterback, sacking Mordecai the way they did. So I feel pretty good. If they can do the same thing against Ahlers, because he is a very prolific quarterback, and the running back is terrific as well. But if they can get that same type of pressure, they can force some turnovers. I feel real confident that Memphis is going to be able to score with their young quarterback, Seth Hennigan, who returned to action last week and was sensational. So I think Memphis offensively, I don't think they'll have any issues. Defensively, it will be another challenge. But again, they seem to be right now in a nice little groove.
Greg, I know this almost needs a parental warning stamped on it when I go here. Maybe not Frank Zappa berating Tipper Gore in front of Congress, but I do think you need some warning when you start comparing games and scores. But it has to mean something. I'm going to go to ECU. I watched almost every play of the East Carolina South Carolina game way back in week 2. They did everything but beat South Carolina. Well, we see South Carolina's getting better each and every week, and they just pounded the Florida Gators, the Memphis Tigers. They beat Mississippi State. Mississippi State beats A&M. A&M beats Alabama. We're going to have 2 pretty good teams on the field Saturday at the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah, and if you want to do some comparative shopping, so to speak, look at Temple and Memphis. Obviously, Memphis let one go in Philadelphia. They had a chance to get that revenge. They weren't able to do it. And this past weekend, East Carolina thumped Temple 45-3. So this is not the East Carolina team we have seen the last couple of years. This is an improving East Carolina team. And we were used to East Carolina for many years putting on a pretty good show in Greenville. Real tough to go there and win a game. They always would play a team or two from the ACC and usually pull off an upset or play them down to the wire. That's the way I grew up here in Memphis in the broadcasting business when I made the move here. Not as a didn't grow up here as a kid, but when I came here and started to get into the rhythm of Memphis broadcasting, I remember East Carolina being one of the powers.
Big time.
They were for many years. And so I think it's important in the American Conference, for goodness sakes, to have East Carolina back and competitive. But this year, I think they have taken a giant step, and they've done it under the radar. Like you said, you watched that South Carolina game. I didn't watch it at all, but I remember reading about it and knowing that they played them really, really close. Then you looked at it and you kind of poo-pooed it because it was South Carolina who struggled. Well, as you said, South Carolina just ripped up Florida. So this is the team that if you are not ready to go, they will beat you. So and Memphis has had a pretty good track record over the last couple of times they've met. They haven't met since 18, but the 17 season they won and put up 70 against them. In 2018, they beat them in Greenville 58-42. So East Carolina's thinking about that as well.
And honestly, it's interesting y'all bring that up because when I got on campus in 2013, ECU was a power. Shane Carden was there, Zay Jones was there, and you talk to the guys that played there before me and visited East Carolina. I was always mad I never got to make that trip, considering how they talked about it. They said it used to be very, very hostile when you got to East Carolina.
I've been there. Yeah, I've been there a few times for both sports, for basketball and football. But football, that was not a picnic to go there and try to win in Greenville. But again, they have not been the same team over the last 4 or 5 years, whatever the case is. But they seem to be moving in the right direction under their head coach. And I think Mike Houston is a really good coach, and he knows what he's doing. You have to have a little patience, and I think the fans right now are excited about the payoff because they are getting better with each progressing game.
Greg, I asked Gabe this yesterday, and I'm not trying to go to a negative point, but we know how dissected and thoroughly examined, sometimes paralysis by all the analysis with Tigers basketball. What's the game where where Tiger fans? What's the loss that Tiger fans lose it? I said a home loss, or maybe back-to-back to Tennessee, Bama. Is that how the schedule falls, those two? What was my back-to-back? It was Tennessee and Bama, wasn't it, Gabe?
Yes, it was. Yes. Bama's first, I believe.
If they slipped up and lost
the other way.
But if they lost one of these first 4 games, people would push the panic button. But there's no reason to. They looked fantastic in their opening game, and this is with Penny still experimenting now in game time as opposed to just practice with who he's going to use in his rotation, what combinations work, what combinations don't work. And they should be able to take care of business. But I think the first real test, and it's not like it's a hugely star-studded field in Brooklyn, but there are capable teams that will be meeting up again, meeting with Memphis. Obviously, there's 2 games that they'll play there. So that, I think, right there will be a sign for Memphis fans to understand where this team is, because you all have had 4 games under your belt. That's enough to be. I'm not saying you're a polished, finished product after 4 games, but I would think that Penny and the coaching staff would, after 4 games, know exactly who's going to help this team, who right now is going to be a backup, who's going to actually not get some playing time unless it's a blowout. And you'll know going into that. So if you struggle there, because remember what happened last year? They went to Dakota and they got beat, and it was downhill for a while there until they figured out with the DeAndre Williams eligibility how to win with defense. And then they made a great run. The tough losses to Houston could have been in the big dance, and they ended up winning the NIT. Well, again, if you're looking at something to be negative about, if Memphis struggled in Brooklyn, that's one I think that would certainly worry the fans a little bit. But I don't feel that they're going in that direction. I think they're really loaded, really good, and I feel real confident. But yes, when they get to those SEC opponents, Brett, they're the best teams on their schedule. So if you're looking for quality wins, and assuming you don't take any really bad losses, I mean, there's going to be losses, but as long as you don't get upset,
I think Tennessee as well.
By a big one, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You are not going to get those opportunities in the conference. Wichita State's a good team. Cincinnati's not even close to being back to where they were. Houston's a good team, struggled in their opener, but I don't think they'll be as strong when you lose a guy like Grimes in a row. So you have to take advantage of these games against these SEC opponents like Tennessee, like Alabama, if you want to have that top 3 seed when March comes around. So, yes, they're extremely important, but you're asking me about when is the fans would push the panic button. Obviously, it would be a struggle in Brooklyn, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Wichita State and Houston both on a struggle bus with their opening games. Houston had to take Hofstra to overtime, and Wichita State had to make a miraculous logo 3 to be able to beat Jacksonville State.
I don't even think Hofstra's the Flying Dutchman anymore, Greg. I don't know what their nickname, what it is now.
Did they change it, really?
I don't think they're Flying Dutchman anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. Wow. That's a shame.
Well, they were flying pretty high there for a while trying to upset Houston. I can tell you that much. But yeah, look, Houston is going to be competitive, but there's no chance they're going to be as good as they were last year with the run they made and the players they lost.
Yeah. The ranking they got preseason is more Kelvin Sampson than anything.
Yeah, meritorious service.
I think so. Because most of the time when you look at the preseason predictions from the media, if not all the times, they were Memphis winning the American Conference. When you looked at the coaches' preseason poll, they picked Houston to win. And again, that's respect for Houston's run to the Final Four last year and not having seen Memphis with this number one recruiting class and these loaded recruits joining the team. They haven't seen anything, so they give Houston the benefit of the doubt. That's understandable.
Now, Greg, you were right there on Tuesday. You were on the call. Great call, by the way.
Okay.
I came in here on Wednesday, and I hope I wasn't being hyperbolic. I said the first 4 minutes with those starters on the floor, with regardless of if they were playing Tennessee Tech or not, I think that was the best 4 minutes of basketball I've seen in the Penny Hardaway era. What do you think about them?
It was pretty darn special. It really was. They came out guns a-blazing, knocking down threes. I mean, really looked like midseason form in the first few minutes. And remember, that's the first few minutes for a 17-year-old named Amani Bates and an 18-year-old. I think he's 18 now. Jalen Durham may still be 17, but two kids that take the floor for the first time.
He doesn't look 17. Jalen Durham does not look 17.
No. He looks like a man-child, and a reminder of when Joey Dorsey was here, although he has much more offensive skills than Joey Dorsey, but the body type looks like him. But yeah, it was fabulous. And then, of course, he goes to the bench, and now you're trying to find what combinations work. Do I bring in 2 guys or 3 guys? Do I bring in a whole line shift of 5 guys? What do I do? Because I know I'm talking like I'm Penny, but what do I do here? I got so many players and that's after announcing the red shirts for Jonathan Lawson and for Sam Onu. So you already have 2 guys that are certainly capable that are not even going to be a part of the participation this year. Practice, yes, but no games. So you're already even losing two guys like that so deep trying to figure out what combinations work. But yes, to start out the way they did, and that's going to be very important, especially when they play the better teams, to jump on them right away. And that's where Penny, when he says he's going to only use 8, 9, 10 guys at the most, will run with those guys. He'll give him a quick little breather and bring them back in.
This is far more preferable, though, than having to depend on Mike Britton minutes.
Oh, my gosh. Look at you bringing up Mike Britton.
Hey, wow. Frank Zappa, too.
Blast from the past. Well, this was pretty amazing. Now, this guy is a lot more rememberable than Michael Britton, and that's Kevin Davenport. But the first game of Penny Hardaway's coaching era at Memphis was against Tennessee Tech. And in that game, Kevin Davenport scored 30. And Davenport, since 2000, he holds the record since 2000. So in this century, for most points scored by a Tiger in a season opener.
Great.
James Wiseman at 28.
That's something.
But Kevin Davenport had 30. For Penny in that first game he coached against Tennessee Tech, and obviously opens up this season with a win over the Golden Eagles.
Do you think at any point during the season, though, 8 or 9 men rotation is going to be in the books completely, or do you think 10, 11 is probably more realistic when you look at the amount of talent?
See, I think 10 or 11, but who am I? I'm not making that decision, right? Who am I? And here's the other thing too. It doesn't mean when he rolls out 8, 9, 10, and these first few games really don't matter because more than likely they're going to take care of business, and all the guys are going to get some action. But when he gets to the better opponents on his schedule and wants to keep it 8, 9, 10, if he does, it doesn't mean that the next game it can't change. Like some of the players can move into that rotation and others move out of the rotation. It's not etched in stone once you go with that first rotation. But I still feel it's very hard to keep those numbers down. Look, we all know Duran and Bates, assuming that they don't get into foul trouble, are going to play around 30 minutes a game, right? Do the math. Do the math. You got a 40-minute game. There's 5 players on the court. That's 200 minutes dispersed.
That's it.
Right there is 60 minutes if those two guys are playing 30 apiece, and that's basically what they played in the opening game. So then you got to figure you got to get your minutes for Quinones, for DeAndre Williams, for Landers Dolly coming off the bench, assuming that he continues to come off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Lomax will get some some minutes, probably as a starter, but probably not in there in crunch time.
Uh-huh.
And then figure out who else is going to get those minutes. Now, Penny, after the game, said what he said at the beginning. When we went in there and met with him, Wobo and myself, he said that Chandler Lawson was given the green light. He was able to play. We saw him play for only 5 minutes, but he said that it will take time, but he will be in the rotation. Earl Timberlake will be in the rotation. And Earl Timberlake did not look great, let's be honest, in that game. But that's 2 more guys right there. So now you're up to 8 guys. All right, Dandridge is the backup big. Now you're up to 9. His son is definitely going to get minutes. He's improved immensely.
Greg,
so
you're going to tax your math here in a minute. Be careful.
Yes.
Be careful.
That's 10. Well, you got 10 guys right now
Yeah.
that I've added up to, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 10. Well, I haven't even brought up Josh Minot. He's playing.
Yep. He
Right
looked
now
good.
we're up to 11. Now John Camden gets a minute and a half. Are you kidding me?
Minute and a half.
A minute and a half for John Camden, who's a 6'8" shooter who can take it to the hole. That's how loaded this team is. And I didn't even bring up the 3-point specialist, Tyler Harris, the walk-on, who came in and knocked down a triple. So now you're up to 13 guys, right? And then, of course, you have the 2 guys, the redshirt. So, yes, to answer your question, long-winded I was, Gabe, it will absolutely be tough, I think, for him to keep to his word.
As far as Alex Lomax is concerned, I know that we've had our talks about Alex Lomax in the past and him as a starting point guard. I mean, in the past hasn't been ideal, but with the amount of talent in that starting lineup, it seems like it'll work out regardless. Do you think at any point this season that Penny will try to transition away from him as a starting point guard and give Amani more that role?
Well, I could see where it happens. I definitely can. But, boy, Penny loves having Alo on that floor as a leader, as a vocal leader. He's really important to the team. And I think he likes Landers coming off the bench. Landers is fine with that. So there's your Vinnie Johnson microwave instant offense. So if that's going to be the case, then Alo will start. But, again, when he calls a positionless basketball, you're going to see a lot of times where Amani Bates starts the offense up past half court. All they're talking about is having somebody make sure they get the ball over the half court stripe,
right.
And once they get off or get over the half court, now your offense goes into gear. It could easily be, and we saw a lot of it in game 1, Amani Bates, who's starting up the offense. Now, Lomax is not a threat to score. He's not a threat to shoot threes. So then you wonder, well, is that a waste if he's over there on the wing and Amani's dribbling up top to start the offense? That's why I don't believe down the stretch in games, especially in tight games, you'll see Lomax in there.
Yeah.
I think you'll have Nolly in there because Bates can drive and kick, and that's another shooter in there. But to start the game, it's really not that big a deal. And again, you talk about how quickly they got off or got out of the gates in game 1. Mm-hmm. Well, Lomax was on the floor for that. So let's give Alo some credit as being a leader of the team, one of the captains of the team.
And with the talent he has around him in that first group, nothing but ball rotations, getting the ball out of his hands and making sure they don't have costly turnovers. And it seems like offensively they'll be fine.
It should make him better, playing with the level of talent that he's playing with. And you're right, as long as he's not turning the ball over or jacking shots, and I don't think you'll see that. He only took 2 shots. And one of them, he was wide open with the shot clock winding down. So he'll play intelligently, but if he's turning it over, then they'll make a change. But hopefully his level will rise with the level of talent that certainly they have on the floor with him.
And he is Greg Gaston, at Greg_Gaston on Twitter, and he is from the Tigers sideline. Greg, we always appreciate
Great
it, man.
stuff.
Sure, guys. Take care.
Great stuff. Thank you, Greg.
And Greg, from the Tiger Sideline, brought to you by South Hall Cafe, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, Mid-South Hobbies, 3A Collisions, Neil's Bar and Grill, and Wilkinson's Liquor and Wine.
I know I'm a broken record, and I say it over and over, and I say it a lot during the course of the year, but I love this time of year. I love the overlap. We were talking about it with Greg, all the basketball action, all the football action, the end of the football season, beginning of the college basketball season. This is a fun time of year, and we're getting – well, we've had a lot of afternoon action in college basketball, but starting next week, all the different tournaments. Ole Miss will be in a tournament next week, and then the Tigers the following week, Maui. This is the fun time of year. It's the holiday time of the year. Happy holidays from everyone at the commissary. The new Collierville commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar are the original in Germantown, and the commissary, they know how to do the holidays the right way. Let them do all the work. All the work. You don't have to fret over any of it. Who's bringing this? Who's preparing that? Let the commissary, let them do all the work. Germantown Commissary. Here's the number to call, 901-754-5540, or Collierville, 901-979-5540. Whole turkeys and hams, all the sides, the gravy, the dressing, sweet potato casserole. They have the whole pies for desserts, the lemon icebox pie, the banana pudding, the pecan pies. They've got it all. Bulk pricing on turkey and dressing with gravy, turkey and ham with dressing and gravy, cranberry sauce. Let them do all the work at the commissary. They have this down. They take great pride in making it stress-free for you. And if you do this around the first round of holidays, I promise you, you'll do it around the second. You'll do it for the second round. Text commissary to 33733 or go online to commissarybbq.com. Don't forget about all the barbecue that's made the commissary famous. But at the holiday time, the hickory smoked turkey, the hams, so good, and they do all the work for you. But the barbecue, we know how good it is. The barbecue nachos, invented here in the early 80s. You'll need to stock up on that for family coming in a little bit early on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and to watch all these ball games. 901-754-5540. Online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and Germantown. On these warmer afternoons and nights, don't forget about the party areas at the Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar. Happy holidays from all the people at the commissary.
After the break, we get to what's trending. A lot in the NBA, and, of course, we have to get to the Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen beef. There's more. There's absolutely – they cannot stop talking back and forth to each other. We'll get to that when we come back on Sports 56 98.5.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Woloshin, and I've moved now. You can catch me with all my friends from 10 to 11. We'll go all over the country to bring you whatever is happening that day. Wallow and Friends from 10 to 11 on Sports 56 and 98.5.
Memphis, it's official, honey. Crab Kings is where it's at. The best seafood with 7 flavors to choose from. Try the shrimp, chicken, salmon, and fried lobster pastas. There's snow crab, king crab, dungeons, and more. Please don't forget about the calamari, shrimp, and lobsters, honey. The portions, the price, the taste is only at Crab Kings. Download our app and search Crab Kings on Google. Visit us at crabkingstn.com. Crab Kings, where the flavor is king.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
The Black Friday sales event is going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Take your pick, 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x2 or 2021 Jeep Wrangler Sport, your choice. $549 a month, and they're not leases, you own them. 2021 Chrysler 300 Touring, $31,945 or $469 a month. And hit the road hard in 2021 Dodge Charger, $32,565 or $478 a month. Plus top dollar for your trade at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So if you're looking for our best deal, drive past the rest and come to the best during the Black Friday sales event or shop online, GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 75 months at 3.99 APR, 3,500 down payment. Must finance through Chrysler, Cherokee, MC 814-357, MSRP 39.9, Wrangler, MW 791-095, MSRP 39.045, Charger XST, MH 66.088.7, MSRP 34.065. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through the end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Of course, we have everything you need for that big brake job. Right now, you can save 15% when you buy any Duralast brake pads and any 2 Duralast rotors. It's a great way to save while you take on the full job. Oh, and here's a tip for you. Go for a nice, easy drive after you finish the job. It'll help you break in your new brakes. For more tips, visit AutoZone.com/DIY. Restrictions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
They say this game can take you far. Your moves can take you further. Make moves that start movements.
Hennessy, spirit of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Hotty toddy Ole Miss.
Boom! That's a way to start it. Right open down the seam. Caught. Touchdown. Caught at the 20 by Braylon Sanders. He trots into the end zone. Touchdown.
We run the ship.
That Corral is on a roll. He's got it to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Lane Kiffin throws his clipboard.
Saturday, Ole Miss battles Texas A&M. Kickoff at 6 with pregame coverage starting at 4 on your home for the Rebels.
Catch Ole Miss Rebels football right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back rolling Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Got some texts. First of all, Max says he absolutely loves the holiday bird from the commissary. Can't blame you there.
No better endorsement than that.
Someone says, you guys have been hard on Bama being number 2. Why does it say that they have the best strength of schedule left of the top 10 teams?
Well, they may have the best strength of schedule if they hadn't played them yet. I know what I have seen. I've only seen Bama look like vintage Bama one time this year, and that was against Ole Miss, and they looked great that day. And Ole Miss did not. I don't think, other than that, Alabama has a banner win this year. And to lose to Zach Calzada, I don't know what's going to happen Saturday in the Ole Miss A&M game, but I will say this. I'll say it beforehand. Ole Miss has seen at least 5, if not 6, better quarterbacks this year than Zach Calzada.
And, Brett, I will always say this. I think strength of schedule is one of the most arbitrarily applied metrics that we have in college football. If you play in a power conference, you automatically get the benefit of the doubt.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, you get a benefit of the doubt with strength of schedule. It's just it's an interesting thing. I don't ever – unless you're number 1 preseason strength of schedule and it stays there just about the entire year, I'll give you a benefit of the doubt when we're talking about it. But other than that, I don't really operate on using that metric. I just don't think it's that good of one.
New Mexico State's going to be no opponent, will be no challenge for Alabama. But then Arkansas at home at BDS, and then in the Iron Bowl, they will be. They win those. They're going to win against New Mexico State. They win Arkansas and Auburn in impressive style, and they can. Will Anderson, I think, will get some Heisman Trophy consideration, like the Georgia defensive players will as well. And Bama complete that 11-1. They go to Atlanta. They still, even with a loss in Atlanta, could be that 2-loss 4 seed that I keep referencing.
Yep. That's why I think they're at 2
Cincinnati
right now,
lose, Alabama really moves up.
Yes, that's why I think they're number 2 right now, though, so they can down the road. Well, they held.
And
this
I think
2
Cincinnati
spot.
will lose.
They held this 2 spot all the way into the SEC championship.
We
so
use
we
the
can't
word
move
a lot.
that far down.
We talk about the freak out factor. Do you know what Georgia fans, if they lost to Alabama, I don't care how, 1, 12, 19, 61, whatever it is. I mean, they since 2012, they thought they were right there with Bama. And that was Lamar Crick.
They really are. They're really close now with Kirby. I think they're closer than they were with Rick even.
Much closer. But if they couldn't, they'd still be in the playoffs, losing to Alabama. They might drop to the 2 or the 3 or 4 seed.
But here's the other thing with Bama is I trust Nick Saban to game plan one game. You get into the SEC championship against Georgia, I trust Nick Saban to have a good enough game plan to stick in the game and possibly win it.
And of the two, which one gets more tight seeing the other one on the other side? Nick Saban seeing Kirby or Kirby seeing Coach Saban?
Kirby seeing Coach
No
Saban.
doubt.
Come on.
So, Texture, yes, we have been. We have been reluctant to bathe in the Bama waters this year. That's rare. Yeah. That's rare. And I've said all year, the proviso all year has been, this is the gettable time, because this time next year it's going to be vintage Bama. Yeah. I don't think they have think they have a hammer running back either.
Yeah, and line wise, they haven't been good against LSU. Run for 6 yards. A bunch of obviously I know that in college that the sack yards count toward the total or whatever.
But it counts. That's how they code it up.
It was 6 yards. So it is what it is, and they've just been so inconsistent week to week, and that has to do with probably having a young
now,
quarterback.
All that said, we know they got one loss.
Yeah, they do.
We're not burying them.
Another text. You go ahead. What were you about to say?
We're not burying them. We're just not praising them like we normally do on November 11th.
Yep. Another text. All this SEC is down talk again, and watch which conference wins it all again.
You're right.
I don't.
You're right.
By any stretch of the imagination.
I get mad at myself every year when I go through this fit. I do, and I should know better by now. But this year, I think I say this every year too. But this year, it really feels like it is down, except for Georgia. What if Tennessee upset Georgia Saturday night?
I don't foresee that happening, Brett. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I think they stay close.
I'm going to be completely.
They don't win, but they stay close all night, all afternoon.
I saw that game on our Friday football forecast. I'm not going to give it away. I'm not going to give it away, but it's going to be. It's tough for me to imagine that Tennessee team being able to stay close. It's just Georgia is
that line of scrimmage
good at the line of scrimmage. Defensive tackles are unbelievable.
Do you think it would be nuts to vote for Will Anderson or Nakobe Dean for the Heisman?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Although this year the Heisman's a little different than it has. I mean, it's a little wide open, but
there's been no moment.
No, there hasn't. And I think the winner at this point is going to have 2 losses or so.
How would you like to be Bama, being this picked
Matt
apart?
Corral, Kenny Pickett, Kenneth Walker. Who's still in it to you? Those 3, most certainly. And then outside of
OU
that,
quarterback
Bryce Young still in it. OU quarterback Caleb Williams.
Has he inserted himself into the race?
That's such a short.
He's kind of like a write-in candidate at election time, isn't he?
He is. I can't give him that benefit of the doubt yet. That's just it's not enough. He can't build up enough stats.
Pick?
Who was your preseason pick?
JT Daniels.
Oh, you want to know what my preseason pick was? DJU. So I think you're a little better than me almost.
Well, my guys.
Well, your guy's
played.
Been hurt. Yeah, he's been on the field.
I mean, at least your guy's been out there.
But he doesn't throw for more than 150 yards in a game.
For all the criticism of DJU, it's his O-line.
Yes.
That's not Clemson worthy.
I've seen him throw for 450 yards when Clemson couldn't run the ball with Travis Etienne against Notre Dame. I've seen it, okay? And I know they lost the game, but he has the talent to do it. The one thing I wondered early in the season is if he just lost confidence playing that Georgia team, getting sacked 9 times and having no chance the entire night. Did that make him lose confidence as a quarterback in his second start?
That was a weird game, that opening day. That was,
looking back on it, doesn't look that good against for Georgia, does it? Looking back at it.
I thought the Alabama win at the Swamp was pretty good. I was one of the defenders of that, and now that's not.
Well, actually, you know what? We have a caller, Joe. We'll go ahead and squeeze in this call. Joe's called in to talk Georgia and Alabama. Joe, how are you?
Hey, guys, I'm good. Just heard you say something, I don't know what team you're referencing, like the tail end of the schedule strength, like not being a big factor for you. What team were you talking about, Gabe? I was curious.
We were discussing Bama. We were discussing Bama when we were talking
strength.
Okay. Yeah, Texter.
Right. Obviously, I'm a Tiger guy, so, I like to see the Group of 5 have an opportunity. The analogy I think of is if you threw Georgia into the Sun Belt, they're still the most talented team, the eye test team, they're the most deserving team, but they don't get an opportunity because they'd say, you don't play anyone, you're in the Sun Belt. So obviously expansion is what should happen. But the other point that Brett said was if you're Georgia, if you don't do it this year, I couldn't think of an analogy recently. Maybe Harbaugh at Michigan. He's had some teams that
Gonzaga basketball is getting close to it.
Right. Gonzaga, yeah. Well, I'm thinking of a specific opponent that just keeps getting you. Like Harbaugh's had a couple of good teams.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, Ohio State.
Ohio State gets Mountain State.
How Miami always got Bobby Bowden.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And Rick, 2012, if they don't, I don't know if you remember how the game ended.
Tip ball.
Bama.
I remember it well.
Right. And they called it inbounds, and if he drops it, I don't know if they score on the next play, but they at least have a chance. And they would have beaten Notre Dame. But then the 2017 title, Tua comes in, and Hurts comes in the next year. I don't know what else you can do if you're a Georgia fan. If you can't nip them this year, what are you going to do?
Joe, I love the place that Herschel Walker holds in college football. I love it. But Georgia needs something new to talk about, don't they?
I think so. I mean, they've had their opportunities the last few years. And the Clemson game, to y'all's point, that is a weird game looking back on it, because Clemson certainly regressed since then. And then you made the point, same for Florida. And it's just not – I think first games, they're just so weird in college football. You get a lot
What
of
a beautifully weird sport.
Yep.
Right.
How did we get addicted to this?
I know. All right, well, thanks,
Joe,
guys.
we appreciate it.
Thank you,
Good
Joe.
call. Good
Appreciate
call,
you, man.
But yeah,
how did we fall in love with this circus?
It's awesome. Because
do to
it's
myself?
Fantastic. I love it.
I can't
first
imagine
game,
my life without it.
First game of the year, though, there's always that benefit of the doubt. There's always that you don't know exactly what you're going up against.
And remember how great Bama looked, especially in the first half against Miami. I was tailgating at Georgia Tech that afternoon, and I thought, I didn't think Bama was going to be all this year. Look at them. And really, you can only piece together about 7 or 8 great Bama quarters. Maybe that first half against Miami, a quarter or two against Florida, a quarter or 2 or 3 against Ole Miss, a quarter or 2 against Tennessee. Nothing against
early
LSU.
Early in the year, and Nick Saban continually talked about it. They were a first-half team. If they got up in the first half, second half was very, very slow. Even the Ole Miss game. For the most part.
Yeah.
First half.
Now they throttled.
Rocking and firing, but second half, I mean, it was very slow and relaxed. And I think, and yes, some of it's based on game plan, but I think even when the game plan changes, there's a little bit of focus lost. And Nick Saban said that early in the year. We get a big lead, our focus leaves. We get in a hole, our focus leaves. So
may I make my first 2022 college football prediction?
Go ahead.
This time next year, we'll be talking about that Alabama team being his greatest team ever.
I'm sure nothing can go wrong with that one.
It's going to be that powerhouse.
I'm sure nothing can go wrong with that prediction. That's going to be an interesting one. But again, tonight, Pickett versus Howell. I'm looking forward to this.
I am too.
And I'm curious of how
I'm running over to Red Talk, and then I'm going to watch football.
Sam Howell going into this year, obviously North Carolina and Pitt, for those who don't know. Sam Howell going into this year was my favorite NFL draft prospect as a quarterback. Live arm, sort of has the Baker Mayfield effect, can move out of the pocket, can do all those things. But at this point, Kenny Pickett has really sort of captured me, because I saw him against Tennessee.
That's when I fell in love with him. Didn't know anything about him, Brett, and then I fell in love with him.
And I think athletically he's okay. He can move around, do some things off platform. But he is a gamer. I mean, he really is. He knows exactly where he wants to go with the ball. He plays confident. And that's the biggest thing you look for when you talk about NFL draft
I don't know if it's
prospect.
the number 8, but I think he has the best attributes of a number 8 in the NFL, of Kirk Cousins.
Kirk gets a.
It's a rocky road.
You know what? I honestly want to say this lightly because I feel like I'll get grilled. I think Kirk gets a bad name. I think Kirk gets unfairly grilled.
Every
at
time
times.
I want to defend him, then he does something.
Well,
I think,
every time you want to defend it, every time you want to defend him, he plays in prime time and gets smacked around for no reason, and he throws picks and he looks terrible.
And I don't know that he has a game-breaking wide receiver, although Adam Thielen's really good.
Mm-hmm.
But Pickett's game reminds me some of his.
But again, whenever we talk about NFL quarterbacks and NFL draft prospects, like last year, Mac Jones, you looked at him and you say, okay, well, he's not much physically.
Sack of bones. Yeah.
He's 6'5". He's got a dad bod. He doesn't throw the ball very far, but he's accurate and he competes and he knows where to go with the ball. The GOAT The best quarterback of all time, and not even debatable, can't run a lick, can't move. It's about what's the neck. It's the necking up. It's the necking up.
Win at the line of scrimmage. Win it, changing plays.
Yep, and it's as much as people want us to move to a new day with quarterbacks, the Patrick Mahomes, the Deshaun Watsons, the Trevor Lawrences, the Lamar Jacksons, Kyler Murray's.
You still win in the pocket.
That guy can still win in the pocket. You have a good run game, a good defense, and a guy that can just spread the ball around.
To hear Belichick coaching Mac Jones.
Oh, it'd be
tutoring him.
Well, I've seen a couple videos of back in the day, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick having
he rode him hard.
But
he would cuss him.
But
I've seen it on the football life of Belichick.
Of course.
Speaking of Bo Davis, and he went there.
Right. But and that's kind of the downfall of why that sort of ended that way, because I think Tom Brady wanted to be treated differently by Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick just wouldn't do it. It's just not in his. He cannot do
all
that.
The same.
Yes, win, do your job. The whole
like Blake.
But
treat them all the same.
To see the old school. And I say old school, but to see the videos of them in Belichick's office having the game planning meetings.
It's beautiful.
Oh, my gosh. It's
a beautiful man.
It's insane. And that's what you
Steve
want.
Jobs and Bill Gates.
Yes.
In the same room together.
I honestly would have loved to be sitting in there, be a fly on the wall during those and just see what's on the screen, what they're talking about, and
trying
what
to
move
gets
the
vetoed
safety
and why.
And everything. Exactly.
I like doing this. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, I think this works.
Now, something we'll talk about in Taco Bell Crunch Time when we get on the other side. I have to bring up this Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen situation. Scottie Pippen keeps answering back.
Last dance never ends, does it?
Yes. The last dance has caused the whole stir. But we'll get to Taco Bell Crunch Time when we come back on Sportstime with Gabe and Stats.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you're treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
The holidays are fast approaching, so start on your list now at Mid-South Hobbies. E-Flight Airplanes, Athearn Trains. Mid-South Hobbies has a huge selection of cars, trucks, and boats from Arma, Losi, Axial 1/10 and 1/24 scale cars, trucks, and crawlers. Spectrum batteries and all accessories are here now. Santa shops local. Hope you do too. Make your holidays fun and exciting at Mid-South Hobbies. Open 7 days a week at 4862 Summer at Mendenhall. Call 901-682-9402 for more details and information. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Mid-South Hobbies.
Barks now offers you just about everything you need for your furry family member. Daycare, luxury boarding, award-winning grooming, veterinary checkups, diagnostic services including digital x-ray, fluoroscopy, and ultrasound, complete dental service, vaccinations, preventative care for fleas, ticks, and heartworms, and just about any needed surgical treatment. And did I mention that we treat cats and all types of exotic pets? We are the newest member of the Barks family and the newest, most high-tech veterinary hospital in the Mid-South. Located directly across the street from Barks and Recreation, we are a full-service hospital with a fantastic, experienced staff. If you're having problems getting a timely appointment at your current vet's facility, we are here to serve you. Call us at 901-979-8888. Barks and Medication, excellence in veterinary care.
Years from now, when you're telling stories about watching Ja Morant when he was just starting out, you're going to want to remember where you were when you were watching him. And that should be Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young. It's the perfect neighborhood bar that also just happens to have plenty of high-def TVs always tuned to the Grizzlies if they're on. It's a laid-back atmosphere at Sweetgrass Next Door, a place where you can enjoy a game, practically any game, without having to deal with a lot of people that don't seem to know how to behave in public. If you're looking for great food, signature cocktails, and the friendliest people around, you're looking for Sweetgrass Next Door in the heart of Cooper Young.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Gabe Kuhn.
Back in Sports Time on Sports 56 with Gabe and Stats. Have a text here from DK on Twitter, and he's responding to your question earlier, Brett, about what a expansion franchise in St. Louis should be called. I still don't have any good ideas, but I think this is a pretty good one. St. Louis Flyers.
I like.
I can dig it.
I like the tribute to Lucky Lindy, and yeah.
And the East St. Louis, they have really good football program, really good basketball program named the Flyers over there as well. But tonight we have Thursday night football on these airways, 560 AM, 98.5 FM. Ravens at Dolphins at 7 p.m. Make sure that you listen in to that. But it's officially time for Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskins. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
Looking for something new at Taco Bell? Try the original tacos meets the instant classic, nacho fries. There's bound to be some magic. Nacho fries are essentially building blocks for culinary imagination. Slightly seasoned, go with bold spices. Warm nacho cheese and sour cream, loaded taco fries are covered with seasoned beef, nacho cheese sauce, ranch, tomato, and shredded cheese. In short, the legend of nacho fries lives on.
Brett, what I learned today, one, out of the NFL, Jacoby Brissett will make his start tonight. Tua will be out. It'll be his second consecutive start, and it'll be against the Ravens. It'll be an interesting one. Tua has a fracture in the middle finger of his left hand. He'll be the backup. He could play if Jacoby goes down, but Jacoby Brissett gets the start. Also, I learned that the MVP odds from Caesars Sportsbook, do you know who's at the very top?
I don't.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady at his ripe young age.
Deserving.
Is at the very top at plus 350. Josh Allen follows him at plus 400. Kyler Murray plus 550. Matthew Stafford plus 700. I wonder how much that's moved up since the Odell Beckham Jr. news. Lamar Jackson at plus 900. Aaron Rodgers at plus 900.
I had Derrick Henry preseason.
He could have if he would have played the whole season. But Tom Brady at the very top.
You know what could have pays you, Gabe?
Discussions.
Zip. Zip.
Nothing at all.
What I learned today, Pelicans coach Willie Green kind of went all Bo Davis on his team on the 1-11 Pell. Zion out, Brandon Ingram hurt, horrible ownership, bad building. I hate to say it because I love that town. It's just not a basketball town. It's not. It's a football
That's
town.
fair.
It's a Saints, LSU town. It just is.
As our friend Anthony Sane would say, as far as a basketball town goes, it's a poverty franchise. It really is. The Pelicans just cannot get it right. New Orleans can't get it right with a basketball
New Orleans
team.
has tried.
They have. They've had some good talent there. That talent doesn't want to stay, and eventually it's gotten to where it is now. 1-11 through 12 games. 5 technical fouls in the second quarter last night. My gosh. Now, what I could have done without. Scottie Pippen, in his book that he just released, says he and MJ were never close friends. He said Jordan would have never become a superstar if it wasn't for him. And he said he was always a better teammate than Michael Jordan. Now, I can deal with it. Scottie Pippen's telling his side of the story. I think what Michael Jordan through The Last Dance did him a little bit wrong, shed a little of bad light on Scottie Pippen. And Scottie's embarrassed and bitter about the situation. But the whole teammate thing would have made more sense if in 2010, during his Hall of Fame induction, Scottie Pippen didn't praise Michael Jordan, saying he's the best teammate he ever had.
Yeah.
So, Scottie, I can deal with you're a little bitter, you're a little mad about The Last Dance, but you can't contradict yourself.
Why does Scottie Pippen run so hot? Why does he run so unhappy?
If you were Scottie Pippen, would you be angry with some of the ways you were depicted in The Last Dance? Because I think I would.
Some of The Last Dance might have irritated me, but if I was Ringo Starr, I'm still a Beatle.
I don't know, but Scottie Pippen, he and MJ were never close friends, and MJ was a bad teammate.
Yeah, I could have done without. I kind of like it, though, but this is always the seed being planted for the end for Tom Thibodeau, and he benched all his starters, went crazy on them. I like that, but you can't really do that because we know in the pros, they can fire a coach easier than get a whole new team.
Yep, and that team, I think a lot of the fans in that city have embraced the team. I think they like Tibbs. He's brought them some good times.
They'll miss him, too.
Yeah, the team, the players are certainly the people that are going to get most of the love from the fans. Also, did you see Aaron Rodgers got fined a little less than CeeDee Lamb? As far as CeeDee Lamb had an untucked shirt, was fined $20,000. Aaron Rodgers, for his violations against the COVID-19 protocols for an unvaccinated player, only got a $14,000 fine.
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb hadn't figured that one out yet. Could we say tonight what we're watching, better college quarterback matchup than pro quarterback matchup?
By far.
Wow.
By far. 100%. I'm
like college basketball night. Come on, you teased us Tuesday night. Now we kind of get it back tomorrow night and into the weekend. Pretty light NBA night tonight. 8-3 Jazz hosting the 4-8 Pacers, but I'm really going to be locked in on that North Carolina Pitt football game.
Not much locally going on at all. Nothing locally going on at all. Tomorrow we'll have the Grizzlies game, but nothing tonight. But that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Bill Bender. Thanks to Brad Logan. Thanks to Keith Smith and Greg Gaston for joining us as well. Tomorrow we'll have a shortened day. We'll have to be out at 5:30 for Ole Miss basketball, but Alan Bell, Bruce Marshall, Drew Barrett, and Jason Munns will join us then. Make sure you have a good night. We'll meet up here tomorrow at 3.